Hello! YouTube tells me I'm live. So, I'm going to get into the chat and say hello to everybody. Congratulations, Kim. You were number one. And thank you very much. Yes, it's 100 shows today. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Hello, Debbie. Hello, Jonathan. Jonathan, happy 100th show. 1/10 of the way to the target. What target? What target is this? Actually, if we're going to get technical, we started off and it was one show. So technically speaking, Jonathan, we're 100% past the original target. See what I did there?
Kim was in at about 8 o'clock.
Kim can do whatever she likes. She's the umpire. Just
True.
saying. Hello, Santosh. Snowy Friday in Boston. I love snow. I adore snow. I've always fancied visiting Boston as well. I think I've seen too many TV programmes from there. That'll be what it is. Thank you very much. Hello, Renee. Happy Centennial. Yes, still there. Snowy. It's warm where you are. It's raining here. It's hideous and raining here. Thank you for all the good wishes. Hello, Neil, who's living in the future. Can you tell us what the COVID situation is in the future? In fact, don't bother. Going from bad to worse, that's where we are. Don't want to miss anybody. I've probably missed everyone. I've missed somebody. Hello, Debbie. Yeah, are the Debs in? Are all of the Debs in? There's another Neil. Hello, Neil. Hello, Graham. And a Deborah. Oh, a Deborah and a Debbie and a Deb. I'm sure I saw a Deb. Excellent. All the Debs are in. Hello. There's a Deb. They're all in. That's fine. The world is at peace. Well, it isn't, but you know what I mean. We are here. That's all that matters. We're good here. Right. Shall I make it so you can see my desktop? Would that cause complete havoc? No, let's go for it. Hopefully you can see that. Next thing is the slides. Yeah, that's not looking too bad either. I don't like it when everything goes too well. It usually means disaster down the line. But we'll go with it and we'll see. So, hopefully you can see that. If you can see that, I can't see you. There you go. So I am now blind in the chat, but never mind. So hello and welcome. Yes, 100 shows. It's nothing short of a miracle. I know. And so soon as well. Jonathan was quite right, wasn't he? You're wondering about what now, aren't you, Mike? Right in terms of one day after hours would surpass MacBites, and he's not far wrong. But yes, today it's 100 shows. 100 shows today. It's amazing. Right, this is what I think we're doing, but, you know, anything could happen. Particularly given the fact my webcam has given up on me, totally. So anything could happen. But that's the plan. Yes, I've had at least 8 emails about Evernote. I'm hoping Evernote have had 1 million times that, because they've really dropped the ball on that one. But I've got a couple of fixes, so there you go. We'll have a look at a couple of fixes. And then we've got Pitch Perfect. Something new, and I do like new. I'll admit, that was going to be something that was whatever. And then I got into it and I thought, oh my. So you might want to sit down and get some beverages for that section. Then we've got the freebies, which we're going to use in the Sticking It to the Holiday Planner later. So you've been warned, freebies, lots of them. And Mike's gone all COVID on us with a cleaning tracker. I have no idea what a cleaning tracker is, so I'm going to leave him to it. Doesn't stuff clean itself, Mike?
No, it's based on a spreadsheet from work.
Oh, well, if no one went in, it wouldn't need cleaning.
Well, yeah, there is
that. There you go. Right, but before we get going, we broadcast in HD, so make sure that you have hit the cog, lower right-hand corner, and selected HD from down there. And while you're there, give us a thumbs up if there is something that you see that you enjoy, because it really makes a difference with YouTube. What have we been up to this week? It's been a weird old week. It really is autumn now, isn't it? But Saturday we started. We only had 7 shows on Saturday. We have had as many as 11. But there were birthday shows. There was one for Jonathan and there was one for Tracy. So all the better for having birthday shows. And while that was going on, Mike was half an eye on the football. He could have been happier, but let's just say I've seen him much, much worse. And once that had finished, we headed off into Brooklands by request, where the theme was, oh yes, dancing. Because it was the official start of Strictly. And I only saw bits and pieces of it, so I need to catch up with that. The one TV programme I actually watch. Not for the dancing, I just like all the camaraderie. But as soon as Strictly started, somebody was waiting to see if Wendy made it 4 weeks on the trot. And guess what? She did. Mike and the lovely Wendy meeting, masked up on the front path. Although you swear blind, it's for the dog, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll believe that when we see it. Now, Sunday started well because the clocks went back. An extra hour in bed. Result. That did not end so well for everybody, did it? Who, despite being told we'd changed our clocks, were looking for marooned before we were ready to be marooned. But same thing tonight, and you're all here tonight, so I'm very impressed. Do you remember last year? It was a complete calamity. They all turned up an hour earlier and spent an hour pondering where we were.
Yeah.
So well done for being here at the right time tonight. And Sunday finished with an Asda delivery, but Mike doesn't like the Asda man half as much as he likes Wendy.
Because he doesn't wear a mask.
Because he doesn't wear a mask. Naughty, naughty Asda man. Monday was all a bit of a blur, to be honest. The only thing I actually remember was a meeting. But other than that, I have no recollection of Monday. And to be honest, Tuesday didn't fare much better. Tech problems. Bit of a tech fail when stuff wasn't talking to each other. I hate days like that, particularly when I take the time to fix it and then the next day it's the same. Case in point, the kind of thing I'm talking about is my Mac has 600 gig free. I have only used 400 gig of space. I do save stuff into that 600 and then I move it somewhere else. But my machine is stubbornly refusing to free up any space whatsoever. So despite the fact that I might move 300 gig off my main hard drive somewhere else, it's still lacking the 300 gig. So unceremoniously, it said, you've only got 26 gig left. And I argued with it. But it won. And I still had to stop everything and reboot. And I just hate that. So Tuesday, not a good day. By Wednesday, Mike wasn't confident. Oh, he was not confident on Wednesday, were you?
No.
It was a nervous start to the night. I, however, had comfort ready for him, just in case it didn't go well. Amazon delivered, didn't they? So they were there all ready and waiting for him, should it not go well. It went that well. I think he needed to save the chocolate for another week. But he ate it anyway. Didn't mean they didn't get consumed, did it? Thursday, here I am working away Thursday night, quite late, ready for tonight, prepping and putting slides together. And what do I find assaulting my eyes on the news? Nottingham having a last party before lockdown. Now, clearly, the guys on the left think the Minion suit is going to protect them. The girls on the right, I don't know. Unless a pink cowboy hat is the latest in COVID fashion and the two little halos. I'm not quite sure. But yes, that was the UK last night. What can you say? COVID situation? Not good. I don't think the two are unrelated. But tonight we're having our own little party. A socially distanced, totally COVID safe party, because not only is it 2 Show Friday, oh no, it's also 100 episodes. We find that really hard to believe. Really hard to believe. The first one was the 16th of November 2018. You'll notice the poster didn't even have a number because it was a one-off. For years and years, if you have not been with us since the beginning, the story behind it is, for years and years we have done, it's actually 10 years this year, isn't it? Live events to coincide with Apple events. And at the beginning, 2010, it was fabulous. They were thrilling us. 2010, iPads, new iPads, new iPods, new phones. It was amazing. But somewhere along the line, probably when they lost Steve Jobs, they kind of lost the mojo. And these keynotes that they were doing were like, let's look at the figures from retail. And the rest of us are like, no, let's not look at figures from retail. Excite us, thrill us, go on, do it. And they really didn't. They really didn't.
Let's do some games demos.
That was my next bit. Let's do some game demos. The rest of us, please, no, don't do any games demos. And they did games demos. I mean, I'm talking like 45 minutes of games demos. So, since about 2015, probably 2014, 2015, we would always say, Apple are spoiling our fun. We're having a great old chat here. And then there's a game demo and we don't like it. So we should have a MacBites event that's not attached to an Apple event. And that was what the very first episode of MacBites After Hours was. And we did unboxings, didn't we?
Lots of them.
We had hundreds of them. I'd got a new iPad. I'd got a new MacBook Air. Now, me getting a new laptop, that's a rarity. That's an occasion. On average, I only buy a new laptop once every 6 years. So it really is an occasion. But Mike surpassed himself and got everybody rather giddy with what you unboxed, didn't you?
I unboxed a Surface.
Mike got his Microsoft Surface 2 whole years ago. So we unboxed that as well. There was a lot of unboxings. There was cables. There was toys. It was fabulous. And then you all got in touch and said, can we do that again? So we said, well, we'll put another one on. We couldn't do the following week. Was it Ladies' Night? Can't remember, but we couldn't do the following week, but we did the week after that, and the rest is history. And we are still here every week now. There you go. So, a little bit of a history of it. But let's have a look at what is coming soon. Not available yet, but currently in beta. And coming soon, ready for Biggles. So I got an email that's just saying there is a big update on the way. And a big update in terms of Big Sur, or Biggles as we're calling it, but there will also be a new version of Houdaspot. I'd say Houdaspot, and it will be supported by Biggles, and it will have all of these lovely new features. And if you go to their website, you can join the beta right now. If you haven't got a license, then feel free to buy one for version 5 because you'll get a free license to upgrade to version 6. This is one of those applications that some people say, like, why do you need it? Because you've got Spotlight. But what Houdaspot does by comparison to Spotlight is nothing short of miraculous. One of the things I was using it for before I changed the entire system was having saved searches. So it's not where I don't know where the files are, but I want to instigate a saved search from Houdaspot and then change the extension, change the number at the end of the file name, and it filters down instantly to the files I want, irrespective of where they actually are. So that's one of the uses for me. Currently, it looks like that, but notice that email. Its icon has been bigglesed. This is going to be a new term, isn't it? There's Biggles and Bigglesed. And that has been Bigglesed. Most of the icons are going to be square. So what they've done is basically wrapped a square around the icon they had. But if you want to try it, feel free. As soon as it comes out of beta, I will demo it. And I will show you some real world stuff that I actually do with it. I do have the beta installed right now, but I'm not allowed to share it. Sorry about that. But that's the rules of the beta. That's why I say if you want to join the beta, go to the website and download the beta. It can run happily alongside the other one, so you don't need to install the old one. Just make sure when you install it that you are not overwriting the old one by not renaming it. But that will be coming up soon, and I will be sharing it very soon. But next, Evernote. Yes, Evernote. Initially, when I put that slide together, it was the table of contents dashboards that are MIA. But there's actually a couple of other things as well. So we will have a look at that. So let's go into here. Can I now actually see the chat again? Probably not. Right, the first thing that I got requests for was you have no idea what the checkbox situation is in terms of what is going on with the checkboxes. So that's the start. So let's get that up over there. Right, I've got 2 sample notes. Yes, the reason I saved this was fantastic. Manchester United are saying that they've modified Old Trafford to hold 23,500 fans safely. That was Wednesday, I think. Thursday, Manchester United players got COVID. So I thought the juxtaposition of those 2 news stories was worthy of note. But, right, checkboxes, that's the first thing. The way checkboxes used to work, and I do have some old style checkboxes I can show you, which is in my index, I do believe. These are the old style checkboxes. Yes, they are now green, and instead of having a tick in them, they have a cross in them. Now, that, as I say, is the old style. The thing with the old style ones is they're more difficult to access right now, and people are like, well, surely the new ones are better. And which are better depends on what exactly it is you're trying to do with them. So let's have a look at that. So we'll have a new note for a start. And we'll say this is our test note for checkboxes. Right. So in here, I can either choose a template or I can just start typing, or we'll just start typing. And you can see across the top, you've got your undo and redo and all of the styling to do with it. And you have this checkbox feature here, which is not a checkbox, is it? No, it is a checklist. You've also got bulleted lists and numbered lists, etc. But this is your checklist, which is not the same as going into insert and inserting a checkbox. Checkbox, not a checklist. No. So this one underneath the insert is the old way of doing it. So if I insert one of those and then put, item 1, I have the pleasure of putting the cross in the box. We're not going to turn it into whatever's. But look what happens when I press enter twice. Now it's not green and there's a tick in it. What happened? Well, it automatically turned it into a checklist. I know, I find that utterly ridiculous as well, because it confuses the issue. I inserted something, then I pressed enter to get to move below it, and it did something different. That is now no longer a checkbox, it's now a checklist. Right, if I move down just once, so instead of pressing twice, only once, and then put item 2, this is how you build up a checklist. But the thing is, you may actually have wanted a checkbox. So the first thing to be aware of is that the 2 are absolutely not the same. The second thing to be aware of is that Evernote has, I would say, a preference for a checklist, which is exactly what you're looking at now, because that's in the primary list of buttons, not the secondary underneath the insert. So this is the new way. Now, I wouldn't say, because people say to me, which is better? It depends what you're trying to do with them. Why are there 2 there for a start? Well, that's interesting, isn't it? But I wouldn't say any one is better than the other. It depends what you want to do with them. That's the problem. So what you do get with this one, by comparison to the other one, so let's go back and have a look at the original that I have not touched in my index in here. Is it that one? It's that one. Right, so I'm going to open that up so we can actually see it there. The difference that you've got is these are all checked. Now, when I say checked, obviously you can see they're checked with a cross, not a tick, but they are positive in terms of I have put a check in the box. But if we compare that, so I'm going to move that out of the way while we get back to the other one in the inbox, there is a difference. So I'm going to move this in and bring this back on. So technically, the difference you've got there, with a checklist, the new style, which is a tick, not a cross, the item gets crossed out. Whereas if you look at the old one from 2014 there, that had the old style checkbox, you can put a tick or cross, in this case, in it or out of it. You let me do that? That is not letting me turn that off. Now that's interesting because it should do. But the big difference is the text here is not crossed out. It's not struck through. Whereas with these, as soon as you put a tick in the box, the item gets crossed out. So that's visually one of the main differences, together with the fact that these have crosses in and the new style have ticks in. Why did they leave the old style there? And the rationale for that was, with the checkbox, which is the new style checkbox, the checklist that we have, it will automatically put the crosses in it, and put the ticks in it rather, and at the beginning. So it's at the beginning of the line. So if we are down here, and we'll carry on with item 4 and item 5. Right, if I turn these into, let's take that full screen. Right, if I turn that into a checklist, it moves it in slightly, it puts the space next to it ready for the tick, and as soon as I put the tick in the box, it crosses it through. So it's doing automatic things with it. Right, let's get down here and have item 6 and item 7. Because what you used to be able to do was, at the end of that, if I decide I want to put that there, you could go in and add a checkbox, and the checkbox is at the end, not the beginning. You can't do that with the new style checklists. So the reason that they've left these alone, and whether they'll leave them alone forever or whether eventually they will take them away, I don't know. But they've left them alone at the moment for that reason. So you can place them where you want. And the other reason is each one of these, including that one, is an item in a list. And it's one single thing. I can't say there, item 2 and 3. And then say, well, I'll put a box at the end, because you can't have one of the checklist check boxes at the end, but you can with these. So if whatever item 5, 6 and 7 were, maybe it's a morning break, a lunch break and an afternoon break, you can go back up here and you can put in more checkboxes, which again, you can't do with the checklist. So if you had some kind of setup going on that necessitated multiple boxes like that, then you're going to need access to the legacy checkbox. Now, as I've said, the only problem with relying on the legacy checkbox is, will it be there forever? Or have they just left it in for compatibility purposes at the moment? And I don't know the answer to that. But no, they are not the same. So the first thing to understand is that they are not the same, and then work out which ones suit your purpose. So if I want to say, yes, the morning break's done and the afternoon break's done, then I can put all of these in. Technically, I can get rid of them as well. Excellent. Why it's not working like that in the other one, I don't quite know. Shall we have a look? Shall we have another go? This isn't locked in any kind of way. It's just old. No, it won't let me take it off. That could indicate they much prefer you to have a checklist rather than the old style ones. It could well be the way they're going on with this, that it's just the age of that note, because it's not locked in any kind of way that I am aware of. But I also note here, looking at it, that the insert's dimmed out as well. So I definitely need to have a look at what's wrong with that. But before, you only had that option, which meant when you pressed enter at the end of that, you didn't get another one, as this one is working. So if I wanted to add item 8, I've got to do the whole thing by hand. So it depends what you're doing with it as to which one you would use. Let me know in the chat. Santosh says, Evernote should have made them visually different, maybe a thicker border on the checkbox to differentiate within the list. Well, the visual difference is that it's green. So this bit here is actually green, and it gets a cross, whereas the other one gets a tick. But I agree with you, and I don't think there's enough clarification in the interface as to when to use which one or why. This rollout's been all a bit weird to me. They've rolled out something that is essentially a wrapper around the web version of it. The fact all the shortcut keys are missing is ludicrous for power users. Absolutely ludicrous. They are adding bits back, but when you look at what they've added back, and I don't know if you can see that from in here. Can we see the release notes? Yeah, here you go. This is some of the stuff they've added back. After restarting the app, Evernote reopens the same notes and windows that were selected when the app was closed. That's fairly basic. Guys, come on. That has had to be added back is ridiculous. And this bit here that's talking about quick notes and clip screenshots, the fact that that has been added back so quickly, why didn't they just wait a week before they released it? Because that was one of the biggest complaints. It is there. I think I hid it. So it'll be hidden in Bartender because it was absolutely no use whatsoever. So let's go find it. I saw the elephant. Where were you? Right. So I'll make that so you can see it. When this new version came out, that did nothing. It just sat there and it did nothing. So why is it there? What they're saying is they've now added the ability to make quick notes. Oh, lovely. And they've grabbed a shortcut key to do that, which probably clashes with something else. Let's have a look. I had to press it twice, but it actually worked. So it's now a scratch pad. Before it did absolutely nothing. You can start typing as it says, and then this will be converted into a note when you've finished with it. By comparison to what's out there, inside other applications that do this particular job and they do it well, it's very primitive. But it's there and it can be pushed into Evernote, so people might absolutely love it. Right. You can also, from there, open Evernote if you leave that running outside of Evernote. I'm assuming you can switch your accounts if you have multiple accounts hooked up. And you can quit Evernote from there, which seems ridiculous to have. I mean, obviously, they're going to add to it. But to just have 3 buttons that quits Evernote when Evernote's in front of you and you can Command and Q, I don't know. Now, down the bottom here, you've got your screen capture. And again, they've allocated shortcuts to it, which I do wish they wouldn't. I do wish they wouldn't. Because they can clash terribly with other stuff. I have a keyboard shortcut in Scrivener that I would love to leave alone. But it clashes with one in Hindenburg, which is open virtually all the time. And Hindenburg, you can't change the shortcuts. You can't change the shortcuts on screen recording software either. I have tried repeatedly. Can't do it. So it's better, in my opinion, to just leave it and let you set whatever you want, rather than grabbing really obscure ones. But let's try and capture a window. That's an idea, isn't it? So it literally just goes into the mode of taking a screenshot. So I'll go across and I'll take one. Oh, here we go. It'll be the death of me, Catalina. Will it will be me. Are you going to just let me put a tick in the box or not? Obviously, this is a brand new feature. This version only came out yesterday, so I haven't quite. Now it needs to quit. I will lose the will to live with this. I will. And when it quits it, you've got to reopen it. This is Catalina for you. You can only imagine what fun Biggles will be. That proves the point, though, doesn't it, hey? Doing that. It did open that. Excellent. That was open before, and it should take us straight back to where we were. Marvellous. Right, so first screenshot that I took, it totally ignored. Instead of asking me for permission first, no. So I've got to go and retake it. So I'll go retake it. And hopefully that will appear. There we go. So that's Wirecast, my broadcast software. And it can now capture screenshots again, which was a bit of a bigger mission if you actually used it. You've also got the ability to take the whole screen or to take a portion there of it. So what can I take with that? Let's draw around a little bit of that. Not all of it, just a bit of it. There we go. That's on the other screen. So that's back and it's working. I don't think that gives you enough in the way of functionality to really warrant a place on the menu bar, but your mileage may vary, especially if you are used to having that there before. I think something like the DevonThink one is far richer in terms of what it offers you. But as Evernote have said a million times, the point of this update is so they can bring out more updates in the future. So their pace of improvement may well Well, it can't be much slower than the last 2 years, can it? It's got to be faster than that, and see how we go. But people are rather upset. I think people are rather more upset that now the web version counts as one instance of having the app installed and using it, whereas before it didn't, and that just tightens the screw a bit to get you to pay for it. But there you go, and there is no Plus version anymore, as we established last time. Oh, now Jonathan says he'd like to use Evernote again. He used to love it. Where did you move to? Where did you take your notes, Jonathan? I had it in a Zoom meeting, Neil. I'm in this Zoom meeting and I said, well, I'll share my screen. And it was about 7 to 10 days after I'd installed Catalina. Not needed to share my screen before, and then it needed to restart. Why don't these apps that need permissions like that tell you as soon as they open? That one let me take the screenshot and then say, yeah, no, not going to let you use that. That's what gets me with permissions. And I can't go into that and just put a tick in every box either. You have to do something inside the app that kind of forces it to do that, and then you've got to come out of it and go back in. You can imagine my training videos have been great fun on Catalina. The air has been blue. The outtakes are fabulous. So let me know where you put your notes, Jonathan. I actually did find, I still use Evernote. I still pay for Evernote. But I don't use it in terms of sitting down and putting notes into it. The reason being, my primary work happens in Notion. And if it's something that I just want to throw some text into, I'll probably use drafts. But I was on this course for 5 weeks and I had a lot of need for just grabbing this and just grabbing that and highlighting some stuff. And I actually found the new Evernote, which was fairly bereft of features. I could actually do that with it. It was clean, and you didn't have the 3,000 other functions staring you in the face that you were going to use probably about 5% of the time. It's just infuriating when the one that you need isn't there. Now, there are other ways to take screen captures, so the fact they've added that back is nice, but it's not as important to me as doing what I'm doing now, which is pressing Command and J and being able to navigate around inside Evernote. Clearly that one is more difficult for them to do. I don't know how long it will take before this gets back to where it was before, which was pretty functional. So Jonathan says he's actually mainly used it to store files, but then moved to a NAS for notes and actually just use Sublime and then take them out to something else depending on what you need it for. I like to have 1 or 2 locations or applications where I can put stuff that, as far as I'm concerned, is finished with, dealt with, never going to look at again. And then down the line, I think, I'm sure I had some text for that. Whereas if I used something like Sublime Text, which is amazing for processing text, and I also use BB Edit for processing text. So let's say I wanted, here's the kind of thing that I would do. Let's do it for real. Right, so I'm going to open Hindenburg, and I'm just going to open a file. What have I been working on lately? Oh, that was a good one. Wicked the Musical. Oh no, that's right, because I moved it. Just had to install another hard drive. Yes, we're up to number 6. So somewhere in here in the project, we hopefully should find a finished one, which will be in the archives. Wicked the Musical. Right, let's open Wicked the Musical. Right, this is Wicked the Musical. So there is a timeline containing Wicked the Musical. And where it comes into text is this bit over here, which is the clipboard, which lists all of the songs in Wicked the Musical. And I will right click on it and I would be looking, hopefully, for an option. The screen's so tiny. There we go. Copy as text. I want to copy all of the titles of those songs as text so I can store them somewhere. Right, so that would probably be Evernote's a good place to put that, because it can handle 1 million notes and not seem to struggle with it. But if I were to put that in right now, in here, new note, and I just paste it in, that's what I get, which it's fine, isn't it? But there's no count, and the timings, I couldn't paste them into a spreadsheet to add them up because there's no leading zeros, so it knows that it's time. So I don't do that. What I do is go into BB Edit, and I did do a demo of this. Maybe Mike can find the week that I did it, but I paste it in there instead. I delete the last line, and then I have a script which I run from in here, process set list. And what it does is number them and put all of the zeros in at the front as well. And what I then do is copy that, and that is what I would put in here for storing. The reason there are extra lines between them is if I take this and paste it into Notion, which is probably what I would want to do with it, it has to have that extra line or I get a solid block of text. So that's the kind of thing that I would have a note of. I could leave it in BB Edit and save it as a text file, but then where do I put the text file? That brings into it storage issues. Then I have to have access to the storage device, be it a local device, a NAS device, in the cloud. I have to have access to it. Mike tried this years ago with text files, didn't you? I'll just put some stuff in text files, he said. I'll put these in the cloud. I'll put them in OneDrive. Then I'll have access to them anywhere I am. And what happened?
I couldn't open it on the iPad,
No.
I seem to remember.
The iPad has no concept of opening something in a text editor and letting you change it. So by using something like Evernote, OneNote, Notion, whatever, you've got access to it and automatically a kind of framework wrapped around your content, i.e. this bit here, the actual content, that enables you to interact with it. So that's the kind of thing. I'd work on the principle once that show's done, and it's done. It's premiering tomorrow. I think is it 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock, I think. I'm not going to need to look at that. But seeing as though I've gone through the process of actually converting it and adding the numbers to it and putting the zeros in it, I might as well just put it in there. And then once it's got a title, so we know that that was Wicked, the musical. If I'm ever looking for that, it'll just be in the archive, because down here, you know me, I have a para system, so there's an archive, and I would just shove it into one of these, either a primary archive or a music archive or a Brooklands archive, and be done. And that's it. Don't never need to see it again. But if I want to, then it's actually still there. So that's why I would do it that way. Right.
I think it was 92.
What was?
Automating text processing.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
So it'll be after hours 92 if you want to see how I actually created that script. Right, that's the first thing, checkboxes and other issues, including the clipper. Last thing to think about is there used to be an ability. We have seen it tonight because that's how it was created. So let's go into here and get our index. This index these are links. That's why they're underlined. That's another reason that you might not want to use the checklist feature. You might want the checkbox because it's an index and I don't particularly want them struck through because I need to be able to read them to use them. But I did want the checkbox to indicate I've finished that and I've used it. So in here, if I click on that, it is a link. This is annoying me and I haven't found a workaround yet. Let's try it if... Oh, so annoying. I don't want this kind of stuff to come up. I just want to click on it and it take me to where it's going to take me. And that sort of is and sort of isn't. What it's doing now is every one of these, crying out loud, every one of these is an internal link into Evernote. So if I go to Tilt Shift, it gives me an Evernote / shard link. And from there I can edit it. And I've also got the ability to open, edit and unlink it. But what a pain in the backside. I want to click that and just go to it. And it does do it in the end. There's that note. And that note itself at the top has a link back to the index. So basically I was creating backlinks 10 years ago. Everybody's getting giddy about backlinks in Rome and Notion, but I was doing backlinks years ago. It's just a way to navigate around. But this I don't like. I think this is ungainly. But there are easy ways to do that, or there used to be. You used to have the option to just create a table of contents. So if we were going in here and we created a new note, and this was table of contents for the inbox. inbox. Right, you used to be able to, down here, add the pages. So let's try it the old way, see what it makes of it. Probably have a complete fit. Right, if you could see it, you can drag and drop it, or you could drag and drop it. Now you can see it's kind of half letting me do it and half not. It's actually dragging it and something's appearing, but nothing's going in there. So that's not working well. So that feature's gone. I guess the other way would be to drag it in there, and it's not letting me do that either. So this is part of the problem. But what you could do is right click on it, and there used to be a table of contents option, which there isn't. But there is the option to copy an internal link. And you even have two types of link. You have an app link and a web link. The difference between the two is the app link will open up the link when you click on it inside Evernote, which 9 times out of 10 is exactly what I want. The other option is to copy a web link. This caused complete... There was such an argument about this in the forums for months. Because what Evernote did was they made a copy link feature. And all the links went to the website and people hated it. So they have added in a copy app link. So I've copied a link to Wicked the Musical. And I'm going to go into my table of contents for the inbox and paste it. And what I now have, I'm going to have to click away. I really loathe that popover. I expect to hover over that, click, and it straight away just open the link. I'm wondering if there is a shortcut key to do that. And it is not looking like there is. Nope. If you hold the command key, it will open it. It will open it in a separate window. But in here, there's no direct thing. You're going to have to navigate your way around that horrific site. Right, so that was one link. We copied that. But there is nothing to stop you making multiple selections. And we've ascertained you can no longer drag and drop. But once you've got multiple selections, which you can do with the command key or the shift key, is you get the option here to move the notes, tag the notes, merge the notes into one note. So if you've made sort of 3 separate notes, you could merge them. Bin the notes, but you've also got the more actions. And this time there's more than one more action. So in here, you can open them all in new windows if you wanted to refer to them, move them, merge them into one note, edit the tags, add to shortcuts, which is this area over here, your shortcuts in the sidebar, or you can copy the internal links. And again, you have the option of app links or web links, and I'm going for app links. And the links to all of those notes are now on the clipboard. So if I go back to my table of contents and I go into there and paste, I've now got links to each of those individual notes. The last thing to think about with that, yes, I can use these and I can click around between those, but I haven't got a way of going back. So let's imagine I'm making a very, very simple course. So let's say that this is the index to my course. So course index. And then I'm going to add, oh, it's having a rare old think about it. Please don't crash. All I'm doing is trying to add a couple of notes, you know. Right, so I've got a few notes. So let's say this one is lesson 1. And lesson 2, guess what the next one is? Yeah, you're ahead of me. Lesson 3. Right. This is how I would go about it. Obviously, it's really simple to get 1 and 2 and 3 and go down to the dots and then say copy internal links as app links, go into the index and paste them in. Brilliant. But before you start doing this, I've done it with 3, show you just how annoying it is. You need to copy the link. So copy internal link, app link for the index and put that at the top of every lesson before you start. And that will give you the ability, that is your backlink. That will take you back to the course index. And from there, you can I'll go to lesson 1, back to the course index. See what I mean? How difficult it is to navigate with that thing popping over. But basically, there you go. You can navigate around them. Now, one option for that would be to have that available as soon as you create a new lesson. So to do that, if you get a new thing here, and I have to remember how on earth. Let's go to template. I think you have to create it first. I created 2, so you don't do it from there. Right. So this one would be a lesson, but it would be the lesson template. And in this bit, we want to have the link to the course index and then a couple of returns so it stands out and it's on its own. And then in there, and they've moved this since the last time. Tell me you can still do it, because nothing would surprise me with this. There we go, save as template. Now I'd have to say which course it was because it's taking me to a specific course index. So if this was my Scrivener course lesson, and then save it. And then, so it's creating a template, having to think about it. Good. And then I can make a new note, click on template, my templates, and my template is there. And when I click on it, the backlink is already available, and this would then be lesson 4. So it's a matter of thinking it through first. So there you go. So that section was fixing Evernote. A lot of the features are still there, but they're hidden. And it feels very disconcerting at the moment that there's no shortcuts. That's really freaking me out. I believe they'll get there. And I think if they hadn't have taken the time and effort to do this complete overhaul of the source code, they would have been dead in a couple of years. So as annoying as it is, and it is annoying, and I think maybe if the COVID thing hadn't have happened, I think they'd have been on course to release what they wanted to release in October. Instead of which, the COVID thing seemed to set them sideways with people working from home, and they stopped all the video production and things like that. So it did impact them. And what they've actually released, there's that much missing. It might only be, they say, the 80-20 rule. That 80% of people only use 20% of the features, so let's ship with 20% of the features. Yes, that's fine, but not all the 80% use the same 20% of the features, and that's the problem. So the fact I can't audio record, I can't play audio, there's a lot that I can't do. It's a little bit annoying at the moment, but maybe Jonathan will get back into it. Who knows? So let's come out of there and back into here. Oh, new toy. New toy. Who's heard of Pitch? Let me know in the chat. Pitch is a newbie. And I'm always really, really critical. Hypersensitive to, it's new, it'll be dead inside 5 minutes. It could be. It could be. But it's not from a team that we've never heard of. Do we all remember Wunderlist? The guy who made that was Christian Reber, and he sold it to Microsoft. And we all went through this pain point, if you remember, in March. No, not the COVID thing. Wunderlist went away, and it all transitioned to be Microsoft to do. Microsoft bought Wunderlist. So what did the guy do with all the money? Well, he set up Pitch. Now, I understand where you're at, because that's exactly where I was at. We already have PowerPoint. We already have Keynote. If going online with your presentations is critical, then there's always Google Slides. Do we need another one? And my initial reaction was no, we don't, because none of what we've got is particularly great.
Deborah got an email about Pitch.
Oh,
Kim's not heard of it.
It's been in beta for about a year, and they've rolled out something like 40 updates. So they've done a lot of work, let's put it like that. But my reaction was, it's an online service. It's separate from, if you use PowerPoint, then you're not going to have access to Word and Excel and nor Keynote, etc. It lives in the cloud, and I'm not interested. But the thing is, if we leave Google Slides aside for one moment, just because that exists in the cloud, and we look at the other two, Keynote and PowerPoint both suffer from the same problem, which is, and I think PowerPoint came first and Keynote basically just aped PowerPoint. The problem with both of them is no matter what twiddly features you add, like, oh, look, I can make that picture black and white. That's fabulous. I'm thrilled. They're not addressing the way in which we deliver presentations. They are bolting that on like a Wallace and Gromit sidecar. Oh, you can present in a window. That's great. Why is the menu bar flashing? There's other things like different languages. I don't want to have 27 different files with 27 different lots of text in. I'd like layers. That's what I'd like. I would like the ability to branch from a part of a presentation to another part of a presentation natively, not adding it on, making my life difficult. And that's the main problem, I think, with both of them. They were made for the days where the governments still are, where some Muppet stands there and the other Muppet says, next slide, please. I don't present like that. I've got a presentation on my screen right now, and I'm going to go on to the next slide, and then I'm going to get rid of it. But I need that presentation to come back quickly without you guys thinking, oh, here comes the presentation again. I have to make that happen with magic beans because the software doesn't allow it. The other issue I've got, while that is on the screen like that, I can't see the chat. I can if I open up an iPad or another screen and I've got 27 screens sat around me, but it just doesn't address modern presentations as far as I'm concerned. So, enter pitch. I thought, I'll just say here's pitch and let's move along. Nothing to see. But actually, it's rather impressive. So, I created an account for MacBites. It's totally free. What you get for free is actually pretty decent. I was surprised. So the advanced features, doubtless there'll be more to come, but at the moment, the advanced features are mainly for Teams. So I've created a single account for somebody called MacBites, and usually I put Mac and Bytes as Mac as the first name and Bytes as the surname, but we've had that problem before. So it's MacBites and the surname's podcast, hence MacBites podcast at the top. So what you've got here is an online presentation creation service. There is a paid for thing available already, but mainly for Teams, as I'm saying. So what I thought we'd do, having had a look at it, was like, whoa, there's a lot of features here. So I thought, right, I'll split it into two. I'll do the other half next week. But what I'll do this week is take you through what they actually want to showcase to you. And then I thought what I'll do next week is show you how that went with a real presentation. So we'll look at the features this week. So what you're looking at, this is your dashboard. You create an account and you are taken here to the dashboard. You have a set of private folders and the name here on the left, which is that bit there, the name would be your name. So I put in MacBites Podcast, hence I got MacBites Podcast. In there, you have 3 presentations that are basically tutorials to take you through what this can do. Then you have presentations shared with you. So separate people can share presentations with other people. Then you have workspace folders, which are, if you're in a team, then you put the stuff in here, and then the workspace, the team stuff can work in here. I do believe that's it anyway. But I also see we have team templates at the bottom, but that's templates, not actual work files. So down here, you do have your team templates. So this would be your corporation rolling out corporates. You've got what's new, which takes you to a beautiful page with all of the updates that they've rolled out, sequentially going backwards. So this was the launch, and this was only on the 20th, so only 10 days ago. But they pretty much went public with it about 4 or 5 days ago. But going back here, you've got all of the other updates as well. So if you think about having, and I used to do this with SlideShare. At the end of a live session, I would have some slides. And it was like people wanted copies of the slides. So I would put them on SlideShare. But SlideShare went away. They got bought out by LinkedIn, who in turn got bought out by Microsoft, and it all got complicated. and it isn't really what it used to be. Let's put it like that. So if you imagine you've got some information that you would like to share in a kind of visual way. So they're announcing here that Pitch is available. So they've made a slide deck. That's it. You can see it's read-only at the top. And I can navigate through this slide deck, which is a beautiful slide deck. And it is very easy to create stuff that looks as good as this. Oh, I was convinced this bit at the top looked like a tooth, but I think it's supposed to be a cloud. And you work your way through the presentation, and it's like reading a very nice Word document, I thought. But you've got animations in there, you've got all the presentation stuff in there, you can have links out to other places in there. You have the index here, which will show you the slides down the side. And I thought that's actually really nice. If I wanted to do what I used to do, I had the ability with SlideShare to share slides, and then it went away. And now I guess you could try and make it public in iCloud, but I wouldn't try it. There's PowerPoint, but it's not all there. This is in the cloud, thus it works. So it would be a really good way to share slides where people can go through them at their own pace, etc., and use the links to go out, etc. So I just thought presenting it's a really nice way to present slides. But we will come on to really nice ways to present slides shortly. Right. So back in here, you also have you can download a desktop app. So it's totally free. Again, there is an app for Mac and an app for Windows. We got lots of chats in here. Oh, Miro's great for online collaboration. No, Neil, hate it with a passion. Absolutely loathed it. The problem for me was we only had about 8 people, and it was just like there was just stuff moving across the screen the whole of the time. I must admit, I didn't like it. I understood how it worked, and I thought you'd need people who had been trained in it to make the best of that. But other people hated it there as well. So not for me, isn't Miro. Right, what else do we have on here that we're going to have a look at? We'll go into the dashboard. In the dashboard, you have the ability to create presentations. It comes up with these 3, and I don't really know why. I haven't done that much in here at the moment. These are the 3 it's offering me. A case study, a conference talk, and a team bulletin. But you're not limited to that. But before we have a look at what else you have, the recently edited list underneath, they weren't really edited. I did not edit these. But they were added, and these are the tutorial ones. And I have been into them, and I have had a look at them. So it's leaving those at the bottom as recently edited. So the templates on the right-hand side give you more than the 3 that are in there. So if you click on templates, you're going to go into Browse All. Now, again, you're looking at 2 different things here. You have a template gallery, which is for you, provided by Pitch. If you are part of a team, which I am not, then you have team templates as well. But the principle of them is identical to the templates in the template gallery. So it starts off with the ability to have light or dark, which I think Keynote has, PowerPoint has, everyone I've ever seen has that. You've got other ones, some of which are clear what they do. So the retro one, 1984, if you look at it, it's like a retro Mac Windows. Love that. Others are less clear what they actually do, but what we're looking at the top with these 8 is the basic way to start a presentation. The absolute basics. They're going to give you sample slides that you can choose whether you use or not, but there's nothing else really in them other than like a handful, well, sometimes more than a handful of slides, maybe up to 30 slides for you to choose from. So let's say we decide to make a light one. As you hover over it, it says there's 29 slides, and here are the actual slides. So it has a title slide at the beginning of light, and then it's got a title slide with an image behind it, and then another one with a subtitle on it, etc. And you can scroll along here, and you can see you've got an agenda, and it gives you a preview, you've got a short memorable title in the middle, you've got some basic text. Don't ever put text that size on a slide, but there you go. But you see in here, you probably could, because in a way, it's like the poor man's Affinity Publisher with a way to host the finished content in a really nice, easy, accessible and iframeable way. So actually, you could use it as a document thing, but if you were presenting as a presentation, I don't think I'd have it that size. Right, all you need to do is click on one and it will add it. And that is now inside your presentation. You can go back to add a new slide, and when you do, you get taken back to all 29 slides that are part of this template, if you're with me. So they are just the pre-made layouts that you would see with anything else. Even a lovely timeline one there. Do like timelines. And graphs and charts and pie charts and all of the things. If you want to explore these really quickly, you do have the ability to just add all 29 and just say yes. Add the lot. That way, if I delete him at the beginning, no, not duplicate him, good grief, now he's breeding. Where's the delete? Let's get rid of the pair of them. Then what we've got is we've taken a template and just added every single slide that was in it. Now, if you think about how Keynote and PowerPoint work, they're basically masters and you would apply them as and when. Here, you're choosing a slide and then adding the slide. So I've added all of those, but that's not where it stops. So let's get a slide with some content like that one. Right, you have the ability at the bottom, go back to the template. Obviously, we've just added that. You can, if you want to look at these more closely, maximize it, and you can then take it back to compact. You can add slides from there, or you can go back to the gallery templates. So let's say within this, in dark, it's giving you a totally different view for it now as you scroll across it. So you might decide, is that El Cap? It's one of the mountains, isn't it? You can choose a slide from a totally different deck just by choosing that in here, by going to the gallery templates, and you've got all of them available. Right, the next thing you've got available from the bottom, let's get him again, is at the moment it's set to light. Now, what does light mean? Well, it's a different style and you can create your own styles. So at the moment that one's light, but you could change just that to dark. You can also make an entirely new style. Isn't that a fabulous way to make a new style? They give you an example of every single piece that could be in that slide and you format it. So you've got this as the preview, but you can enter a style name for it. You can change the colours. You can change the fonts, the background, the titles, the whole thing. All of this over here. And this gives you the biggest preview of that. I think that's amazing. Oh, that the others worked that way. Keynote is clunky to say the least. But this one, I was surprised. This one lets you change the background colour. So you can choose from the colours in the style so it matches. So maybe your art department has created one. But it's different, but it is in line with the style. You can choose other colours or you can go absolutely crazy. Let's not go absolutely crazy. Then you've got the image. And when you come to put images in, you've actually got... Oh dear. There's a political one, Mike. Quick, run and hide. But you can search Unsplash. So if I'm looking for something like an iPad, let's go on to something that's not likely to cause grief. You can put in your search at the top and then straight into here. And these are the images I'd use in Keynote. But I'd have to go and download them and then add them into the slide and then crop them and then generally fiddle around with them. So you've got Unsplash, you've got Gifly there, dogs. Oh, can I put dog in? Oh, what if I put Samoyed in? Oh, that's a Samoyed. Look at those ears. That's Lola. Oh, aren't these cute? Yeah, you've lost me now for an hour. That and pandas, and I'm gone. Oh, look at these faces. Right, you've also got icons available in here. They haven't got any for Samoyed. How alarming. Let's try RSS. Have you got something for that? There we go. RSS icons. And you've got brand fetch, which is great. loving that, because if I put in the Worldwide Fund for Nature, we should get the panda. And the beauty of that is that it's going to be, you're not going to have the problems of it not being the quality that you need, because it's coming from Brandfetch. Right, shall we put that in? Shall we put him in? There he is. And then, of course, I can change his size, etc. But there you go. Right, obviously that's to do with content that you can add at the bottom. But while you're working your way through all of this, you can also change the design as you go, because over on the right-hand side, you have access to the themes. So you've got the background colour, again, the presentation styles and so forth, and you can get into there, play around with that. I'm going to leave the next one because I'm going to come back to that one. But you also have the ability to add comments. So if you are working with other people, you could add comments to it. Now, I use that feature all the time, and I share my presentations with nobody. But I leave myself comments. So normally on a Friday night when I finish the show, I make the presentation for next week and I start putting notes on it to myself. So what football matches are on this week? What we're doing on Saturday? And there are lots of notes on there. So it has the ability to add the comments to it. It also has the ability to add reactions to it. So if you particularly like a slide, you can add a reaction to it. You can also add notes. Now, this is not just random notes like the comments would be. These are the speaker's notes. So hold on to that thought, but you would put your speaker's notes in here. So notes for presenter. And then toggle them on and off with the button. The one thing I think that was the first thing I stopped and thought, whoa, this has been written or created with a real presenter in mind, both in terms of somebody who actually ultimately presents the file and or creates the file like I do. Do you remember I had a system for working with presentations? Let's go into here. And we probably haven't got one at the moment, but I'm actually coming out of it. And I'm going to go back up to the top and share it with you. So this is my Keynote file for tonight. Hidden away under slide 1 is a million other slides. And in here I have all kinds of stuff that I use, including these, which are for status. So they're in there so I can copy them. So I've just copied that. And the reason that I have multiple ones is so whichever colour I want, I can copy the colour. I only ever need to copy one. So how it actually looks is at the beginning of the week. In fact, you know what? Never mind this. Let's actually get the template out and have a look at that. There's the template. This is actually what it looks like. They have dots all over them. So this is my template, replete with dots. And what I actually do is say duplicate it.
Johnny says the dot is the best tip ever.
Right, so next week's is 0101. And next week is the 6th, I do believe. That's it. This is going to be next week's. Right, I know in here, not only do I have the dots, but I know I either need the week at MacBites headquarters or the 2 weeks at MacBites headquarters if we have had to miss a week, which since we've been in lockdown, can't go anywhere. So I delete that. We always have the freebies, we always have the Excel bit, it can have the unboxing if it works, and I've even got that one for the week after. So what I actually do is come in here, and that's going to be 101, and it's going to be the 6th of November. It is not British summertime. It's Greenwich Mean Time. That's done. So I just delete it. My other option is to just use a style and make it green. The reason I don't use the green that much is because at some point I'm going to have to go through this presentation and just delete, 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 delete. So I decided, you know what, if it's done, just delete it. Then I've got to come in here. And I know for a fact we'll have pitch part 2. So I start putting stuff in, which means that one needs to change to amber. And that's how I do it. I do it with a style and a shape. And if we look at the week at MacBites headquarters, you can see there's some stuff there for Saturday already. I will put the date in. So tomorrow's date is 31st of October. Each one gets a date, and then I start working on them and I change the colour. Right, so that is a little aside as for how I've been doing it for the last 10 years. Guess what? Is that this week's? Come on. I now seem to have quite a few open, but I don't want that one open. So you go away and we'll get you back to where you were, which was there. And hide you, and then we'll get back over here. Right. The reason I took that aside was, how would I do that in here? Well, workflow. You can assign the slide to a person, particularly if you are working in a team. But the best thing ever is this one. Set the slide status. They've copied me! They must have watched after hours. So you can actually have a slide with a status of to do, which appears over here, which is very close to where mine are because you can see them down there. We'll go to that one and say that one's in progress. Oh, isn't this cool? This is my system. There you go. I think that's fantastic. Just proves me right, doesn't it? That is very important. And I can see pretty much that. I don't put different shapes in because I want to be able to format it with a style, which is the way Keynote does it. But I've never seen that in any other application. So there you go. There is that to do as well. Now, let's go and find a slide to play with, like that one. That'll do. It's like they heard me. That's exactly what I thought, Jonathan. Should I sue? Right. So far we've been looking at working at a high level, put a slide in, use the styles that are there. But what about getting your own content into a slide? Well, you've got options across the top. You can put text in and you can choose the styles. You can even create your own styles. So we'll put a title in. We'll put a title there. I don't particularly want it in that position, but we'll move it across. Right, so we'll put in there after hours. Okay, so very simple to put that in. Then you've got the ability to put a graphic in. Now we've seen the graphic bit because it used to be down the bottom. We were down there before. And you can search for all the services that we looked at before. We must get away from that political thing. Bye-bye. You've got the ability to put shapes in, which is exactly the same as most other applications. It actually looks the same. There are nowhere near the same number, but the one that caught my eye, that neither PowerPoint nor Keynote has any concept of, is in the buttons and labels, which is this one. I use that all the time. You've seen me, it's got dates on it. It's a nightmare to get it in just the right position. And this is simple, isn't it? Oh, it's a joy to use. I'd probably change the fill, probably have that colour, and then I would probably put extra stuff. But you get the point that that's not there in the others. I actually have to rotate it and then start measuring it to try and get it in the right place. So that's the shapes that they've put in. And they also have processed things down here as well. Then there's stickers. I mean, who doesn't want a dog on a phone in their presentation? Or a dog's behind? I mean, I've just got to. Yeah. There are no words for that, but there you go. At least it's modern. You probably wouldn't want it, but there you go. You've got Otto the dog, and then you've got stuff for teamwork. These things are probably much more useful. They're very high quality. A lot of the time you've got to go and get that off Google. You bring it into Keynote and PowerPoint and it looks really shonky. But these are very high quality graphics. These are stickers. They've got graph monsters. Again, not quite sure, but your chubby hands and your badges at the bottom. I'm sure they will add to these, but that's what you've got to get going with at the start. What else do we have? We have charts. And there are different types of charts. So you've got your bar charts, pie charts and line charts. So let's just quickly put a pie chart in. That even gives you the ability to edit the data at the bottom. So it probably wouldn't be pie, would it, with Mike? It would be ice cream with Mike. But you can do that and you can edit it. The interesting points to me with this were the fact that you can import a CSV, which, have you ever tried that in Keynote, Mike?
No.
Yeah, it's a bit finicky. But you can also import from Google Sheets. Love that. Love that idea. So that's there as an option as well. So if we go back up here, you can you'd have to import your Google Sheets or your Google Analytics, and then you can use that as the source data for a chart. But if it's just basic charts you're after, then you've got charts there and you can change the data on it. Right, we probably need a new slide now. I've completely ruined that one. The next thing you've got is a table. Actually put a table in there like that. You've got all the options. It doesn't feel like a web app. It really doesn't. It feels very, very nice. This is nothing like I was expecting. It's one of those things, it was on my list and I thought I'll have that done in 5 minutes. And then I went into it and I thought, loving this, how much is a sub? Now, you know me, I am hard to please with presentation software, but it's getting there. If this is launch week, can you imagine it if he keeps on with it for a year? Oh, wow. So just like I said when we looked at Evernote for the first time, that was probably about 3 weeks ago. And I said the best feature was the table feature because it felt really smooth. This is the same. The table features, the insert stuff, the charts, it all feels really, really smooth. I'd need to spend a little bit more time with the tables. If only, let me have a look at columns. Let's go for 8 columns and 8 rows. Because I used to love doing that, taking it full screen and then start merging stuff and making full screen tables that were showing you like a feature set of an application. And it looks like it can even do that as well. And you've got access to templates at the bottom. Right, let's get that back out of the way. So that was your tables. And the last thing up here that you can embed is YouTube videos and Vimeo videos and Loom videos. Jonathan says Microsoft will buy it and kill it. I must admit, my first thought was how long before Google buy it and kill it? That's the trouble. You wouldn't mind if they buy these applications and then make their own applications better, but they don't. What I will say with this guy, he's got experience because he's already built a product up. The trouble was he did actually sell it. However, after he'd sold it, a long time after he sold it, and Microsoft were killing it, he did go back and say he regretted selling it and he wouldn't do it again. So fingers crossed. But what you can do in here is get the link to any YouTube video, but I probably better not choose this one, had I? Although it'll tell me I'm going live. Oh, it is telling me I'm going live. Oh, whose video should I put up here? Oh, it's got to be that one. Kim knows exactly what's coming. It's got to be that one. They are black and white and they are furry. So that's a YouTube link. And there they are. Rice dumplings. Oh, pandas. Now, you see, isn't that better than all the political garbage? Oh, how adorable. Right. So can I move it? I move it with the thing at the bottom. And I can scale it as well. So let's scale it up and let's press play. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Love it. I like the fact you can add stuff from Loom, but I would say it would be nice if they extended this because Loom is more expensive than Cloud App and Cloud App can do what Loom can do. So on a personal level, I'd rather see Cloud App than Loom. Loom is an in-browser recorder that can record your screen. There is a free level, but it's quite limited. So I don't use it. I haven't got a Loom account, but I know a lot of people who do. Okay, so at that point, we've got our presentation, haven't we? Admittedly, not the best presentation we've ever seen. But let's leave that one alone. And let's look at this getting to know pitch. Now, with a little bit of time and using the templates that they give you, you can make stuff that looks as good as that, which you could do all of this in PowerPoint or Keynote. It's just they make it more difficult. They look like they were written in 1982. Next slide, please. And that's exactly what they are. They are built back then, whereas this is built for an online world. So going through here, it talks about finding your way around it, which I have already introduced you to. Then tells you exactly what it is. So start with a template, apply your presentation style, and then get working with it. It then introduces the workspace, which I have also already done, which is the bit down the side. And then there is team templates at the bottom, creating your first template and so forth. You've got collaboration with others, which is really quite powerful. But before we get into all of that, which we might get into next week, how on earth do you present this thing? So we'll use this one and we'll start on the first slide. You've got a couple of ways of presenting it. If, like me now, you're sharing your screen to start with, then you can just hit play. And now it's saying it's full screen, and once that's gone away, it's going to play. And I'm using the arrow keys to navigate through it. The thing is, both of my external monitors, one on the right, one on the left, I can see them. I cannot do that on anything else. PowerPoint blacks them out, Keynote blacks them out, you name it, it's gone. But this is only using the middle bit. That should instinctively give you another question. Where on earth do you see the presenter's notes? I had that question. So I thought, where are the presenter's notes? So I clicked on it. I did click on it. There we go. Right, you have an option here. You can use this for navigation and you can exit your presentation. But there's also speaker view. I thought we'll go for speaker view. And that happened. And I thought, that's not grand. What it's done is the presentation is in this tab and the presenter's view is in that tab. So I thought, well, I don't particularly need that on this screen, do I? It's got the slide that's up now and it's got the slide that's coming next. What if I just take this totally out of the way and put it on my other monitor? So I have, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller on my other monitor and then hopefully do that. That did not end well. Although I will say at the moment, I do have an issue with Firefox on Catalina. The two don't like each other. So what I've got is a window with my presenter's view in, replete with speaker's notes at the bottom, which I'm going to take wherever I like. And I actually would have that on the left-hand side because that's where my microphone is and that's where I need to talk to. But that doesn't help us at this point because now we're in a browser window and it doesn't look like a proper presentation anymore. But if we click the black bit, it goes full screen again and the two are wired up. So now I'm using the presenter view to navigate to the next slide. And I can see my speaker's notes at the bottom. And if you're wondering what that actually looks like, I can even bring that on here and you can see it too. So if I wanted to show you something in the speaker's notes, I could actually do it. This is the most flexible way I've ever seen to present, because normally I'm screaming, aren't I, that all the screens are blanked out or this isn't working or they've changed that. The worst thing in the world is you have the ability to edit the presenter view, but it's on a per computer basis. So when you go out to present, you've got to fiddle around with theirs as well. This is nice. This is really nice. I was impressed. I was very impressed. So that's it for presenting it. Now, that's if you're doing it the way I'm doing it now, which is I'm talking to you and I already have Wirecast and we've got YouTube there and it's amazing. But what if you've not? So what if that's not the situation at all? So let's come out of presenting it and we'll go back into there. Exit presentation. Away we go. Right, so we're now back at the point of editing. We have the slides in the slide list and we have the actual slide that we're looking at in the big canvas area. Can you add your own icons and stickers? You can use whatever graphics you want. So you would have no problem uploading whatever you wanted. But what if, unlike me, you don't have Wirecast, because that was like an arm, a leg and a kidney, wasn't it? From both of us. I think the original price was something like £1,300 plus VAT, something like that. What if you just want to share it? live. Oh, look, a live button. Right, what the live button will do, it's in beta, but it did work. You go live, hit the live button. First thing it wants is permission to use your camera and microphone, which is irrelevant for this demonstration, but we'll do it anyway. Twice, just because. Okay, so this would be a picture of me, but for the fact that that camera's not working, as we've established. And all I actually need to do is hit start to go live. And then hit the button again. Right, so I'm going to turn off the video, turn off the microphone, because you're hearing me through this and you don't want to hear me twice. So I'm live. I am actually live, and I'm going to be showing that slide, hopefully. Then I've got the ability to share the fact that I am live with other people. Oh, I love that, Neil. Keynote has a web presence via
I was going to reply,
iCloud.
but I thought I'd leave it to you.
There are no words to that, is there? iCloud. We lost a presentation that way. Luckily, it was already backed up 3 million ways, but that's not the point. iCloud's just a bag of hurt. Right, you can invite people. So I could invite Mike, I could invite 3 or 4 team members. You could embed it to allow public access on a web page, which would be rather cool. You can copy the link and share the link with people, or you can just say, make it public. Now, there will be a banner at the top that says pitch. This is made with pitch, because to get the non-branded version, you need to upgrade, but that's one of the very few things. Then all you need to do is copy the link, and then anyone with the link can actually view it. So I'll toddle across and I'll paste that link, and hopefully all of it will go in. And let me know if you can see it. Right, I'll get Chrome Canary up, which is another browser. Oh, I would do if it was running. Oh, you are. Excellent. And I'll put that in there so I can actually see it. And let's see what you're seeing. And hopefully we're all seeing the same thing. Excellent. So what you've now got is access to play that with the play button. You've got the navigation, which is next to the numbers, and you've got the slides, and you can play around with it. So the banner at the top that they're talking about is that purple banner, and that's removed if you are on the Pro account. Santosh is in it. Excellent. Is anybody else in it? You in it?
I was in it.
Mike was in it, but he's gone. Is anybody else in it? I'm sure. Is Jonathan still awake? Come on, Jonathan. You need to be in there. You need to be in it to win it. Which I just think that's amazing. It's a way to share data that's absolutely beautiful, with none of the clunkiness of I've got to upload it here and I've got to do that there, and then you've got to do the iCloud dance, and you just give them a link. It's public. Press play. Simple. I'm liking that. Let's have a look. Oh, excellent. Kim's in, Paul's in. Good. So that you can have a copy of that present. Is Jonathan still awake as well? Excellent. As is Graham. That's a good way to share documents like that. So I could see a benefit underneath the video of After Hours, putting the slides. Just share them. That would be cool. That would be cool. I need more testing on it, but that would be cool. Right, so let's come out of here. So I'm going to leave the live, not doing the live thing now. I've left that session, but you should still be able to see that. It's got a share icon on it. So when you go back and you look in your list of recently edited, etc., you can see that the light one, the power one, and the collaborative one are all locked, but the get to know pitch one has public access turned on. So you can even see that from in here. So what I thought we'd do next week is actually build a presentation and put it through its paces that way, because so far so good. It's going to be things like, I'm trying to think of, my presentations have like master slides in them. So I'm going to have to think about where on earth they would go and how you would drag them in, etc. Plus the fact, one of the big questions for me, and I did not find an answer. If you found an answer, let me know. Can you actually upload a PowerPoint file? And I didn't see a way, or a Keynote file, incidentally. So that might need thinking about a bit. But I do think they're onto something with the way that they have approached this. It doesn't take over your whole screen. You can have controls on other screens. You can put the controls on one screen if you want. You can come in and out of the presentation. They've thought it through from a delivery perspective. But thinking it through from a creating a file perspective, a little bit different. It is a little bit different. I mean, there's some beautiful things that you can do. If I show you this how to become a power user one, Peter's liking it a lot. If I just show you a couple more things of what this can do, and then next week let's try and build a proper presentation, and that's when you find, oh dear, that's an issue. But just as an example, you've got graphics laid out there on top of this blue square, and that's probably something that a designer's done, or it's a template. And like Mike, whenever he does something, let's say he puts 3 icons on a slide, what are the chances they're going to be lined up, Mike?
Not much.
Not much, no. Mike would have them all over the place. But what you can do in here is, if you think, do you know, that lightning flash would look far better if it was in the middle, you can click on that to select it. Now, I've moved away, I've just clicked it once. I have a replace option if I want to replace that with something else. I can add shadow if I want. But we have this button here, the one there. That little button, and it says swap. And when you click it, so make sure I've clicked it. Why are you not clicking? Are you clicking? There we go. Move it down there. I don't have to drop it in the right place. I just need to select, grab that, and hover over something else, and it will twang them all into the correct position. Oh, that's good. Where's this in Keynote? Where's this in PowerPoint? Seriously, it's all like, oh, you need to go into the alignment options on the left, and then this and this and this, and then 15 levels down, you just click that button. This is just drag, drop it, you're done. It's amazing. That is pretty good. When I use the arrow, it gives me the features of whatever's selected. So then I've got the image, and I can replace the media. I can put a different image filter on it, which would change the colour of it. You can change the opacity of it. You can blur it. Oh, a MacBites poster. Round the corners of it, which won't particularly work on that. Or reset it to the default, and you can move things backwards and forwards. So pretty much, it might be a very different ideology in terms of working with it, but that's nice. That is nice. And if we use the replace, then you can go in and you can start searching to replace it with something else. Loving it. Loving it.
Trevor says that needs to be in PowerPoint.
Tell me about it. I could give you a shopping list of what should be in PowerPoint and Keynote. I am in Keynote every day, every single day, for hours a day. It's the best that there is, but, it annoys me on a regular basis. And you spend more time finding workarounds for things. Things like lining stuff up like that should be as easy as that. They should be. So next time we'll look at creating our own colours, background colours, the entire theme, and we'll put a presentation together. I actually have a potential real world use for this. I don't know if it will work. I will have a go in the week, and if it does, I will share that. But whether it does or whether it doesn't, we will make a presentation and see how it fares in that regard. But I thought it was worth showing that in a more detailed way than I intended to, because actually, considering everything you've seen there is totally free, it's definitely worth creating an account and having a look at it, isn't it? Definitely. So you need to go to pitch.com to do that. Right, somewhere I had Keynote. There we are. And as I said, the starter thing is free forever. When you actually look at the comparisons here, yes, the Pro version, you've got unlimited sizes and things. I did do a download of a PDF, and it had a tiny pitch brand in the corner. So if you were paying for it, then you would be able to remove that. Advanced analytics I'm not really overly bothered about. to be honest. Some people love the video collaboration. I couldn't be bothered. You'd need to be in a team for that. It says £10 a month per member, but it's actually £8 a month if you take it for an entire year. But you can see the difference there. If you're working with yourself, you won't need workspace roles. You won't need shared private folders. You might want to upload video. I guess the workaround for that is at the moment, if you want to include the video, put it onto YouTube and make it unlisted. But there is a limit on the file size, and the limit is this. In fact, it's not actually on that particular slide. But the starter plan's unlimited and the pro plan is unlimited in terms of users. The only problem is if you're working with somebody and you want the pro plan, I think they've got to have the pro plan. I'll check on that, but that's pretty annoying. But you've got unlimited guests and unlimited presentations and custom templates and font support. You've only got the 10 gig per workspace, but then the other one's only got 10 gig per user. So to be honest, it's virtually identical. You don't have shared private folders, but again, you're probably working on your own, so it won't particularly matter. And the media integrations, they're all there. So I think they've been incredibly generous with the free plan. I was interested as I looked on the companies that were using it, and I saw Notion and Doist. Doist is the company behind Todoist. So I thought that was very interesting. Right, freebies. We will be looking at the freebies when we look at the next bit. But our freebies, the links are in there, Mike. They were hideously long and complicated, so I didn't put them on the slides themselves. But they are 3 places to get, as you can see, loads and loads and loads of icons. Difference with the first one, which is, the name escapes me, but Mike will tell me. They've grouped them together by like sports and time and date and people and travel, etc. Travel, remember travel? Long time ago. So they've grouped them together. There are coloured ones, there are plain line icons. The thing with the icons is when you download them, they're all in SVG. So you can scale them, which you will see me doing, and then repurpose them for a different purpose. The next one is Ionic. And Ionic also have SVG icons, which means they are vector, which means they scale. So they work on iOS and Android and desktop, etc. And there's a whole range of them, outlined, filled. You can colour them yourself in something like Affinity Designer. There's brands in there as well, which I find incredibly useful, like the YouTube one. But if it's brands that you're interested in, there is this one called Simple Icons. And what I thought was lovely about this is they do have brands like Slack, Just Giving, Adobe Premiere Pro, Dreamweaver. For some reason, because Dreamweaver's green, so I don't know why it's on purple and pink, but there are 1,463 free SVG icons. It says for popular brands, and when you go through it, look at the colours. They're all colour-coded, and I think they're all on the homepage. All 1,500 of them are on the homepage. So go get some of those, because we'll be using them in the next demo after Mike has talked about COVID cleaning. Again, sometimes there are no words, are there, Mike?
No.
But he's COVID cleaning. So, are you ready to have your screen shared?
No.
No, it says waiting.
It does.
Has it crashed?
Yes.
Yes, I thought it had. Right, let's all say a prayer for Mike's machine. Get some holy water out. You've broken it, haven't you?
I have.
He's totally broken it.
Right.
Have you got, which version's that?
I've got another version. That's 2020.
Oh, bin the 2020. You've got 2019?
I've got 2019.
That's the one I'm actually using.
We'll give that a go.
Let's see how this goes. Oh, he's not giving it permissions. Oh, no. I should share this, instead of just talking over it.
Go on then, share it.
Right, poor Mike. This is what happens when you don't set your toys up in advance. Look.
I didn't expect
Catalina permission.
I didn't expect to need this.
Always expect the unexpected, Mike. It'll probably want to reboot at some point as well. Isn't this where you wave a chicken? Absolutely. Right, let's wave a chicken then. Oh, was that working then?
Yeah, it can't load the preferences pane, it said. Right.
Can I make another suggestion?
What?
You won't have tried this
No,
either.
it's working. It's
Well,
just
you
recording.
say it's working. This is the point I'd roll ScreenFlow out.
I've got that as well.
Have you given it permission to record the screen?
No, because I haven't used it for months.
I had to go through all of this.
I don't think I've used it since High Sierra.
This is the problem with it, and then it wants you, and you're in the middle of a live session. It's annoying, isn't it?
Yes. Right.
Right.
Let's
You're confident now,
let's
are
just
you?
go for it and see what happens.
Right. Well, they can see
she's been out
that won't stop.
and she's been bribed with those little hypoallergenic things.
Oh, do share that. That's really a maroon trick. The lady who delivers stuff over the fence, Simon will appreciate this because, you know, he knows we live in a madhouse. The one with the food that also included a bag of something extra sent some more stuff over the fence.
And she's got a bundle on them.
She has. It's hypoallergenic dog treats. They're very tiny, but, you know, as long as she can get enough of them, she's quite happy. And if you're thinking there's some kind of water coming down the line, that's me pouring my drink out. Sorry and all that, but, you know, I have to drink. Right, where you go, Mike?
Okay, right. COVID cleaning. Yes, last week, well, earlier this week, actually, a guy at work came to me and he wanted some help with an Excel file, as they do. And it turned out it was this spreadsheet that he'd set up for tracking cleaning of desks. So what I've done is I've taken the concept of that spreadsheet and added to it, because if all I showed you was what I did to fix it, it would have been like a 30-second demo. So I've added some stuff to it. You'll see over here in column L and M, there's a bunch of stats. We love our stats. So I'm going to show you a few bits and pieces. Basically, he was getting some data. I think it was downloaded from somewhere, or he might have been creating it himself. And it was all to do with people booking desks. So if you want to go in the office in our place now, you have to pre-book a desk. And what they've done is they've given all the desks numbers. You can sit at alternate desks for social and distancing purposes. So desks numbered 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. are not available to be used. And you can book a desk for a whole day, which is AM and PM. Or you can book a desk for half a day. Or 2 half days. So you could have somebody using that desk from, say, 8 till 12, and then somebody else using that same desk, say 1 till 5, and that desk will then get cleaned partway through the day. And I don't mean just with a dusty rag, I mean proper deep cleaned, COVID style. So what I've got here, I've got made up data, but it's the bookings, it's the desk bookings for one day last week, the 23rd of October. As I said, every desk is numbered and only the odd numbers can be used. And what employees do is they enter in their employee ID. When they book a desk, they enter their employee ID, and I want it to automatically pick up their name. So I have on another sheet here a list of the employee numbers and their names. And I could use a VLOOKUP to do it. But the thing with a VLOOKUP is it's so last century. XLOOKUP is where it's at. And the other thing with VLOOKUP is when you search for the employee ID, the employee name would have to come from the right. And here the employee name's on the left. So I'd end up having to rearrange the layout of this employee list. So what I'll do is I'll do a formula to calculate the employee name using XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP, for anyone who doesn't know, is a relatively new version of VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. So Microsoft haven't got rid of XLOOKUP and HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP. I'm sure they'll be around for a few years yet for compatibility purposes. And also, of course, there's all those mugs that are around and hats that are around and t-shirts that are around that says, I love VLOOKUP. So they can't get rid of it just yet. But XLOOKUP is a lot easier to use and it's a lot more flexible. So equals XLOOKUP. What I'm looking for is the employee ID, and I could either put in the cell reference D2, or because I clicked on D2 and D2 is part of a table, it uses the column name. Then I put my comma. The lookup array is where I'm looking, and I'm looking in this block here. And what it will do is it will pick up the fact that that block there, columns A and B on the employee list sheet, is part of a table called employee list, and we have the column heading called employee number. But if I didn't have that data as a table, it would have just given me B2 to B30, whatever it is, 40, 41. Then another comma, and then I put where the results are, which is in here, this range here. So you don't have to mess around with positions, column positions, and making sure your table is sorted and making sure it's in the right order, left to right, and so on. You also have a couple of other options. So if not found, so instead of using the NA, which it does in VLOOKUP, you can just put something else if it can't find a match. And then you've got a couple of other options as well, but they are all optional. So the minimum you need is what you're looking for, where you're looking, and where the answer's coming from. And I have got a whole bunch of NAs because I didn't specify what to put if it didn't find it. So you can see that certain desks have not been booked out, and it cannot find a blank cell. It can't find a blank in that column there, so it has returned an NA, just like VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP do. I didn't have to copy the formula down either, because it's in a table, so it automatically copies. So if I go and edit the formula, and what I'll do is, if it can't find an employee ID because it's a blank cell, because that desk hasn't been booked out, I will get it to leave the employee name column blank, just by putting in double quote, like that. So if not found, leave it blank. And now it recopies the formula down, and that looks a lot neater. Okay, XLOOKUP is where it's at. Just having a look at the questions. Won't it just pick up the column name from the table as you add it? It should do. Yes, it should do, Neil. So there's a couple of ways to do it. Okay, so the next formula I want to do, and this was the formula I actually did for the guy the other day. I didn't use XLOOKUP. There's actually two reasons I didn't use XLOOKUP. One, because he didn't have an employee names list. I just added that into this demo. But two, we don't actually have XLOOKUP at work yet, much to my annoyance, because they haven't updated. Because it only comes with 365, and it only came out late last year. Actually, it's about a year ago, and AZ still haven't updated to the latest version. Anyway, all desks get cleaned at the end of the day, and if two different people book the desk during a day, then the desk gets cleaned between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. So if we take, for example, desk 9, so it's on the ground floor, hence it being a G at the beginning of the name. Two different people have booked that desk, so it's going to get cleaned partway through the day. So what I did, because this guy said to me it would take me forever to go through this list looking to see if there were two different names against the same desk number. So he wanted to speed it up. So that's where I put this formula in. And this is the formula. It's an if function. So if D2 is blank, then leave this cell blank. In other words, if the desk hasn't been booked out, if there's no employee number, then leave the needs cleaning blank. But if there is a desk number, what I need to do is I need to compare this row with the row above on column C to check that we're looking at the same desk number. So if that is true, so if the desk number from this row and the desk number from the row below are the same, and the names in column, well, actually the employee numbers, I could have done it with names, but I chose to do it with employee numbers. If the employee numbers are not the same, then I want it to say yes. So it's a case of thinking through the logic. And the logic says that if the desk numbers are the same, so if the desk number on this row and the row below are the same, and the name on this row and the name on the row below are not the same, then it needs cleaning. Otherwise, it doesn't need cleaning. So to do that, I used an if function, another if function, combined with the and function. The AND function allows you to specify multiple criteria as part of your logical test of the if function. So it's AND open brackets C2 equals C3, because we're comparing this row and the row below. And as I copy the formula down, then it will adjust the cell references. And that's the first logical test within the AND. The second logical test is to test if D2 does not equal D3. Close the brackets, because I'm closing the brackets on the logical test. Then I need my value if true and value if false from this if function. So the value if true is yes. So if those two criteria are true, yes, it needs cleaning. If either one of those criteria or both of those criteria are false, then it doesn't need cleaning. And if it doesn't need cleaning, I could get it to put no, but I'll leave it blank. And then I need two closing brackets for the two opening brackets. And what it's done there is it's gone through and basically any desk where there is an employee number, a desk number that is the same as the one below and has a different name, then it does need cleaning. Okay, so we can see here that that desk there needs cleaning because, okay, right now somebody else hasn't booked it for the afternoon, but they may well do. This desk doesn't need cleaning because nobody has booked it at all. And this desk doesn't need cleaning because nobody booked it in the morning. So that's how I worked that particular problem out. Okay, let's just have a look at the questions. What have we got? If employee has COVID-19, the desk has not been cleaned. I like that one. Yeah, my problem with this is other programming languages I've learnt where double equals and exclamation mark equals not equals. Yeah, it's a case, Simon, of learning all those different syntaxes for all the different languages. It's like I said last week when I was talking about Power Query and the M language. The M language is case sensitive. And there's no way you can really teach somebody that because there's just so many different idiosyncrasies. Anyway, let's go on and have a look at some of these statistics. So first of all, I need to pull out a list of the desks to be cleaned. And there's a number of different ways that I could do that, but I decided to use one of those new dynamic array functions that I covered a while back. Because when I covered them a while back, I just made up a few demo files, but this is a real example of where we could use them. It's not the only way to do it. Basically, I want to pull out a list of the desk numbers that have got yes against them. And I could do that in a couple of different ways, but the easiest way is to use the filter function.
I'm just thinking in the old days, you just slung a bell round somebody's neck and said unclean.
That is very true. Unclean, yeah. So you may remember I did these a while back. It is quite a while back, but let's review them. There's a function which is called the filter function, and as I said, it's part of these new dynamic array functions, which are only available in 365. So equals filter, open brackets. The array is going to be the desk number column. Okay, so I'm going to choose the desk number column there. I could have actually just left it as that. As Neil said, you can just click the column heading and it will take the whole column, but I tend to just select all the data. So I want it to look at the desk number column, and the ones I want to include are where the needs cleaning column equals yes. So like that. Okay, so that's what the filter function allows you to do. It will look at a column and it will return all the values from that column where another criteria is true. So if I now press enter, I get a list of those desks. And the way we know it's a dynamic array function is that when you click on any of those cells, you get this border around it, and also all the cells apart from the top one, you cannot actually edit or delete the function. You can see it's sort of grayed out in the formula bar. You can only delete the top one, and then they all delete. I want to count how many slots there are, how many booking slots there are. So that's a relatively easy one to do if I count the number of desk numbers. So I'll use equals count A. I'm not using equals count because equals count will only count numbers. Equals count A will count the number of cells in a range, well, it tells you there, that are not empty. So equals count A, and I want to actually count the desk numbers. Now, I know the desk numbers are repeated, but I'm not counting the number of desks here. I'm counting the number of available slots. And that gives me 30, which is correct. Then I want to count the number of slots taken. And again, that's a relatively simple one. I can just count the number of cells in column D that have an employee ID in them, or count the number of cells in column E that have an employee name in them. So again, I use the count A function. And for this one, I'll count the number of items in the employee ID column. Oh, that's not right, is it? That's because I just clicked on the column heading. So let's try that again and select all the data like that. There we go, 22. So there are 22 slots taken. Is that right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, 22. For some reason I thought it was a different number. That's why I was just checking. And the percentage that have been taken, relatively straightforward. Just take 22, divide it by 30. There we go. And I'll format that as a percentage. I want to know how many employees there are on site. So what I can do is I can use the count A function, but I can use the count A function in combination with another function, another of those dynamic array functions, and that is the unique function. If you use the unique function on its own and you specify an array, so let's specify that list of cells there, then what it will do is it will give you an actual list of the unique values from that column, which isn't what we want, but it will do that. What I want to do, why isn't it deleting them? Because I wasn't on the top one. What I want to do is just count the number of employees on site. So I'll put equals count A, open brackets, unique, open brackets, and then specify that range there. Okay, and that gives me 18. So there are 18 employees on site. Now, some of those employees have booked 2 slots. So that's why there's a difference between the slots taken and the actual number of employees on site. It's counting the unique bookings. Now, what it's actually counting as well is the blank cells. So it's treating that as 1, and that as 1, and that as 1, and that as 1, that as 1, that as 1, that as 1, and so on. But it's also treating all the blanks as 1 entry. It's seeing blank cells, and it's counting them. So I guess there's 2 ways I could do that, because I've just thought of another way. I could, well, actually no, I couldn't. I was going to say take the 18 and subtract from it the number of blanks. But that's not going to give me what I want, because I basically want it to treat the blank as 1 entry for this purpose. There's actually, and I know this because I checked it, there's actually 17 employees on site. So although there might be 5 or 6 blanks, it's treating all those blanks as 1 item because of the unique. So I'm going to change that formula. I'm going to include an extra element. It's still going to be equals count A, open brackets, unique. But now I'm going to add in a filter. So after the unique, I'm going to go up and add in another function, which is the filter function, another one of the dynamic array functions. I'm going to specify the employee ID as the column I want it to look at, and I'm going to specify the employee ID again for the criteria, which is the include block, and then we come back to Simon's favourite syntax, which is less than greater than, and double quote, which is for blank. And I'll need 3 closing brackets. And there we go, that's 17. So if we have a look at that one, what that's doing is it's counting the number of unique values in column D, where column D is not blank. So it's 3 functions combined together. Okay, the percentage of employees on site is going to be the number of employees on site divided by the total number of employees, which I can get by doing a count A and then going to the employee list and counting the employee numbers. Okay, and then format that as percentage. So that's the percent of employees on site. So the boss can turn around to their boss and say, yeah, we had a 43% of our employees on site, which isn't bad when they're sort of catering for a 50% of employees going back on site and doing it in a rota, or they were until Boris turned around and said, could you please work from home if you want to, or if you'd prefer. Okay, now I want the number of employees on site all day. Now, rather than typing that formula in, what I will do is I'm just going to copy and paste it from my notes, because it is quite a long one, but I will explain how it works. So basically it's counting the number of unique values in the employee ID column, but it's only doing it where the employee ID appears more than once. Because for an employee to appear on site all day, they would have booked the desk in the morning session and the afternoon session, so they would appear more than once. So that's what the greater than 1 is for. So that's part of the count if. So count the number of items, count the number of unique items from the employee ID field where the particular employee ID appears more than once. And then finally, I want to count the number of desks that need cleaning. So I can do a count A there. And if I select this block here, because I've already captured all the desks that need cleaning, you'll notice that it uses a strange looking syntax. There's another syntax for you, Simon. So it's going to J2, but the hash sign is because that is a dynamic array. And it's giving us 7. Now, let's say that Hugh Sutton decides to stay for the afternoon. So I'm going to copy Hugh Sutton's employee ID, paste it in there. And what that does now is it says that desk doesn't need cleaning because he's put that desk out all day. So it now says that the number of employees on site all day is 6. It was 5. And the number of desks that need cleaning is 6 because desk number 3 has disappeared from here. If I delete the employee ID from there, so imagine that Hugh Sutton then decides no, he'll go home for the afternoon, then I'll delete that from there. It updates the dynamic array, desk 3 is now included, and everything updates. Okay, so that is my COVID cleaning spreadsheet. Started off as a simple request from a customer at work, just really to do the yes no for whether that desk needs cleaning or not. But I decided to add a load more statistics.
And Peter's got a question.
Peter's got a question. Shouldn't on-site be separated AM and PM? I suppose it should, yes. If you're doing it for real, I suppose it should be separated for AM and PM. How do employees actually make the booking? Right, I didn't actually show you that, Neil. In the real world at work, they've developed an app. It's a desk booking app. And what?
Is it as good as the track and trace app?
Well, as long as it's not based on the same technology. Yeah, they've developed an app, and the idea is that you log into this app from home. It's web-based, and you book a desk, and you're supposed to book the desk for the whole day, but sometimes people don't. And if you can book it for the whole week, that would be preferable. And then this data is actually just downloaded from that booking system. So that's how it's done. Okay, any other questions? I have to say I'll be cleaning off the desk myself before sitting down to work. I think I'd be doing exactly the same, Kim. Yes, they have cleaners in there who are supposed to be deep cleaning it, but would I trust them? Would I do it myself? I think I'd probably do it myself. Okay. A painful learning curve to start. What's a painful learning curve?
It makes me wonder what the cleaners were doing before COVID.
They were cleaning, but not deeply.
Something's either clean or it's not.
That's true. Yeah.
Wafting a dirty cloth at it does not make it clean, in which case they weren't doing their job to start with. Just me. Clean is when it's been in Kim's COVID cave for a week.
This is true. NA is noradrenaline in intensive care. Don't want to mess with that.
Can you imagine what the government would make of this Excel thing? We've already had calamities with the government.
Yep. Right, I think I've gone through all the questions.
Now find to time out and time to discover if his recording worked. I'll leave him to that. Let that be a lesson, Mike. I've got half a dozen apps on here and I've gone through them all to make sure that I can record with them.
My recording did not work. The
I said.
The audio did.
Like I said.
Yes.
I said that.
Yes.
That's why I said try ScreenFlow. Is it just not in there or is it somewhere else?
I will go and have a look.
There is a trick to Camtasia, which I can't show you the trick. But the trick is, because I'm using it, otherwise I would show it to you. The trick is, when you set it up, don't have it opening that, save the T-Rec. The best thing you could do, you see the audio recording you've got, if you save that file.
Not yet.
Right, don't. Leave it where it is and I'll sort it out later. But if that file crashed, if it didn't get as far as it has, which is opening it up in the wrapper, and it had crashed, there should be a recording somewhere. So leave it be. Right. Don't touch it. We'll come back to it. Oh, joy. Tech, remind me again. Right, the holiday planner and the sticker books. What a nightmare that turned into. This was the one that last week couldn't open the file. So I've basically been fighting with the file. I've got the file open, but we're going to look at two things. Getting the holiday thing from... In fact, it doesn't have to be a holiday planner. It could be anything. From Affinity Publisher into GoodNotes. Now, if you use something other than GoodNotes, like Notability, the majority of what we look at, you can do. There are some slight differences I will attempt to point out along the way. But I used GoodNotes for many years, then didn't because they went Catalina only far too soon for me. So I switched to Notability. Notability is lovely, has some really nice features, but it also is missing a few what I consider to be critical features. So I've got Catalina, I've gone back to GoodNotes. So that's where I'm at in that regard. And the sticker books should be able to work in either of them. What we looked at was how to actually use a sticker we would do. We did not look at how to create stickers. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so I have two files. I have the Affinity Designer file I'm about to work with. And I have... Where have you disappeared to? Don't crash on me again. Don't you dare. There we go. So we had our holiday planner as well. But I'm going to set up the stickers first and then we'll do all of the exports together. Right, so what I've created here is an Affinity Designer file. There are two ways to work with stickers in GoodNotes. Stickers are graphics that you can copy in isolation from where they live and put them on other pages. Now, there is a huge business in this, not joking. You go to Etsy and you look up stickers, there's millions of them, digital and physical. So what I've done here is get some icons from the links that were in the freebies. You see what I did there? Right, and this is what they look like when you open them. These are SVGs. Now, I need to point out, first of all, something weird has happened on my machine. This is not uncommon at the moment, but I think this one is actually Affinity and nothing to do with me. Because this graphic is pin sharp on my screen. And all of this stuff over here, pin sharp. All of this, pin sharp. The text up there, pin sharp. And that, pin sharp. However, when I look over here, that is shockingly blurred. So that's not me. It's not YouTube. It's Affinity. When I just look at the difference between the word opacity and the word stroke and appearance, there's no... What are they thinking? I don't know. I've had to take it down in resolution, but even so, it shouldn't look like that, but it does, and it's not me. Right, so I've got the icon. The icon is actually made up of 3 individual curve pieces. As luck would have it, they are just about the right size. So all I actually need to do is copy them and go into my stickers bit and paste them in. So that one will do nicely as number 10. Battery outline. Right, that is my up arrow. So grab that and put that on the arrows ones down here. And this is literally all I do with it. I don't need to do anything else with it because they're already SVGs. So it just needs to go on an artboard of its own, and that's it. We have that one. That's a full battery. So copy the full battery. And I think I've got one too many icons here. We need that one, which is the charging icon. So we'll put that on there. And we need a right-facing arrow. That one. So I had a couple extra, or I've already used them, one or the other. Right, they're all full. So the reason I'm putting them on separate artboards is to demonstrate the 2 different ways you can work with it. But what we've got, I'm assuming you are all familiar with artboards by now. Shout if you are not. But an artboard is a discrete area in the file that you draw out, and you then put the artwork on there. The reason to use separate artboards is so when it comes to exporting, you are exporting individual graphics and not one huge graphic with all of the icons on it. And all I did with all of those was copy and paste them in. They're not in the right order, I know that. Never mind. This is the way it works. But there they all are. And the beauty of that is that I go to the export persona, and each one of them has a blue frame around it, indicating that it is going to be exported separately. Further than that, it looks like it's black on a white background. And it looks like it's black on a white background in here. But if you actually look at the thumbnail, it's just black and there is no background, which is important. Because when we come over to here, as we're exporting these, we don't know what colour the pages are going to be that these are going to be used on. So they need to have no background at all, and indeed they don't. The default, when you look inside the export, is to export as PNG. And PNG supports transparency. So what we want when we get this out is just the arrow and not the background. So hopefully this will all work swimmingly. So I haven't changed anything in here. There is a million things you can change in the export persona, but I haven't changed anything. They're going out as PNGs and there are 16 of them. So export slices, which I'm sure we've done a million times. We'll put these on the desktop. Yes, the desktop. And export. Now, you could have drawn these, you could have got in artwork from somewhere else. You could have extracted it from existing artwork. I just happen to have taken them and used them in that way. And I appreciate they are black on a transparent background. And if I wanted a white set on a transparent background, then I could just select the lot and change the colours of them, etc. You are not limited in either way of using stickers to single colours, which we will see. Right, let's minimise that and have a look at the desktop. There they all are. So that's the original stickers file, and these 16 are the exported stickers. So we will put those in a folder. But for the moment, you can see when I preview them, there is no background on any of them, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So let's put those together. And we'll call them stickers. But we will also put underscore at the beginning because I'm going to put them somewhere and then use them live on the iPad. iPad willing, obviously. So I've got my stickers. The first way of using them is as graphics, where you don't have to do anything else with them at all. You just use them as graphics. Hence putting them in a folder with the underscores, which will push that to the top of the list. But there is another way to use them as well. Which way you use them, completely up to you. When you buy them, they usually provide you with 2 types of sticker. Stickers like that are actual graphics, and then a version in a book that is not. So it just depends. Right, so we've got that one. Next thing to think about. Other stickers. Where did I put those? I literally had a folder full of them. There they are. Right, got them. So the other type that I'm going to be working with are these app icons. So this is the second lot that I'm working with. So I'm just going to show you what I've got. And the reason is, these are the kind of thing that I did for real. Most people use stickers as kind of shapes. I didn't. What I've got here are my app icons for frequently used apps. Oh, like Camtasia. Don't mention that to Mike. He's peeved. Right, these are just app icons. Now, some of them, the majority of them, as you can see, they are transparent. So as we go through, I think there's only one that isn't. And the one that isn't is Drafts by the look of it. That looks like it's got a white background on it. I think I had to draw that one. But it still shouldn't have a white background on it. I think for most things it won't make much of a difference. But I'm showing you these because when I have a notebook, I'd gone through my notebook and I'd scribbled notes and I'd copied and pasted stuff into it, and I had a GoodNotes notebook. And then I realised some stuff was like, oh, that's something I need to do in Audio Hijack, and that's something I need to make a recording of, and this is something I need to add to DevonThink. At the time, genuinely, there was Scrivener I was adding stuff to, Ulysses, and I was working with ZenKit a lot, but obviously that would now be Notion. And what I actually did was work through my notebook by copying the sticker and then pasting the sticker everywhere that I needed to, that needs to be in Notion and that needs to do this. And that was what I did with it. Does the size of the artboard really matter? Yes and no. Yes, in terms of it could do with being ballpark what size you want the sticker. You can scale them, no problem at all. But it takes time, and then they're not quite the same size. So what I did was I made those 500. Some of these icons are more than double that. And that's why potentially using them as graphics isn't the best idea unless the graphics just happen to be the right size. But I'll show you the 2 ways, and I think the second way is probably better. I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, I would do it the second way. So we'll have a look at doing the second way. But what we've got there is 2 sets of icon stroke stickers, whatever you want to call them. So we'll put that at the beginning, and hopefully they will all end up in the right place in here. You see I've got icons. These were ones I was playing around with the other day. They can actually go in there, can't they? There's only the Notion one that's doubled. So let's lose the Notion one. And we'll get them all in there. So I'm going to grab these 2. And yes, I'm putting them in iCloud. I know, I was surprised as well. Doesn't really matter which cloud service they go in. Honestly, it doesn't. Let's put these icons. Did we have a Firefox one? I think we did. But let's put the app icons in there. And then we can lose that. Did we have Firefox in there? We've now got 2 Firefoxes. Oh, is that an old Firefox? No, that's the same Firefox. So we'll get rid of him. Right, so we've got all of the icons exactly where we need them. Once you've tried this, if I were you, Deb, I would work out a size that works and then go back and make them the right size. Because scaling them, if you are in any way anal about it, they're not going to match, because the scaling is very physical rather than typing in a number. So they might look slightly off, and if that bothers you, then make sure you get them the right size to start with. Right, so they are where they should be. Can I use them from where they are on here? And actually I can. So I'm just putting this off the screen. So we've got a little bit more room, and we will open GoodNotes, which is one of those applications, I have no idea why, which never remembers where it was open, and it never remembers what was open or the size it was. So you've got to fiddle around. But it's now updating its little self. So I have the stickers here. This was the one we looked at last week, if you remember. And we imported these stickers, but these are not our stickers. So have an empty page down here. Now we've got two, but we have an empty page. And what I can do is drag and drop that in, and that is a sticker. What we're actually looking at there is you can scale it one way, which isn't particularly the best with this. Scale it the other way, or you've got the corner where you can scale it both ways and rotate it. That is exactly the same as we did last week, only we did it on an iPad, with these stickers. So what we're trying to do is use our stickers. Now these have just been created. They just happen to have put a lot of stickers on an individual page. What I would probably do in here is create a page of stickers with these. So literally put these, get them the size that I want them. You see how difficult it is with a mouse to get it just right. So if you can work out what size you want it first, great. But you only have to resize them once if you're doing it this way, which is I'm dragging and dropping in what I want to drag and drop in. If I want them as big as that, great. If I don't, then it's a matter of moving these across and scaling them. And that's what I'm saying about if it bothers you if they are fractionally out, like that one is. Come on. It's not even picking it up properly. Right, move over there and scale. I wonder if this is easier on the iPad. You get the idea. Right, I actually have these quite big, probably about that size, but you can have them whatever size you like. So you could lay this page out, because this is going to be your sticker book. You could lay the page out in any way that makes sense to you. If you want all your Affinity apps together, or you want them alphabetical, completely up to you. You know, big icons, small icons, you can have multiple icons of the same type, doesn't matter. And what I'm doing in here is actually putting them in the book. Now, I am using graphics though. And the beauty of it is that GoodNotes realises that these items I've added are not part of the page. And the lasso tool means I can grab hold of them just by drawing. Makes more sense on the iPad, which I will show you on the iPad, but you're grabbing hold of them just by doing that. And then you can copy and you can take it somewhere else as a sticker. So I've got a few there. I'm not going to bother taking them all in, but this is a job you would only need to do once. So if you think about having a layout of stickers, you do only need to do it once. You can also use the features that you actually have within GoodNotes like this. So if I click at the top, hang on, let's turn on that, which will give us a perfect line. And we've only got the 3 Affinity ones, so let's take that across and have the perfect line there. And then you could bring in extra stickers. So let's say next I'm onto my Camtasia stickers and bringing that in. It is fiddly, it is time consuming, but you only need to do it once and get them lined up. Thus. Right, that's what you can do in here to start creating the sticker book. But if you would much prefer to work on the iPad, feel free. It makes no difference. I'm probably a desktop girl, except where it comes to this, because it's fiddly. So I wasn't in the slightest bit concerned about actually perfectly laying them out. Now you might think, well, just a minute, can't you lay them out in an app that's got better alignment than this? Oh, would that you could do that. But it has to be sat on top of the page rather than being inside the page. Okay. So I've got some in there. That'll do as a starting point. What I'm going to do is go back and we should see that the stickers here starts to upload. So has that already uploaded? It could well have done. It could well have uploaded. Right, so just to show you, you can do it in here. And if you are in here with your notes, so I've said that's a sticker book, but did we create a blank notebook? I don't think we did we? So let's make a new notebook to actually start putting notes in. That'll do fine. Even untitled is fine. You could stick with just these. You don't need to do what I'm about to do if you just want to drag and drop and say, do you know that was to do with Evernote, and you just stick that wherever. If you don't care about stickers, then you can just use the graphics. The stickers come in handy when you're on the iPad, to be perfectly honest with you. Right, so we've done that on there. What I'm going to do now is come out of that and then try and get the iPad up. That's always great fun, isn't it? But before I do, we're ready with the stickers and we are ready with the graphics. But we haven't got the book yet, have we? So let's go into Affinity Publisher. This could have as many pages, sections, masters, anything as you like. I'll be honest with you. I had to fight so much to get this actually open and working again in here. Because if you remember, it started life in Affinity Designer. And I had problems with it. I think it's Catalina. Hence the blurry stuff and Firefox crashing like crazy. I think it might need a bit of an update. But I got it open and I have put in backgrounds for stuff, and we've got tables that we've seen. So we wanted to remember last year, it's got a background on it. We've got the food budget. What else did we have? Oh, we had the menu. We had what we wanted to do 1 week before Christmas with a nice master page on it. And a lot of rubbish at the bottom that I haven't actually deleted yet because I don't know which bit we were deleting. But I have the holiday planner. And all I need to do with that is actually export it as a PDF. It's that simple. So there is a shortcut for that, or file export. PDF is what I want to export it as. We've already got the size correct. So there's no sizing options in here. If you remember, 2 weeks ago, we set it all up and we used the size that is the default that GoodNotes prefers on the iPad. So all of that is already set up. Anything that's rasterized is going to rasterize down to 300. You can take it up to 400 if you want. To be honest, it won't make that much difference. And we are good to go. Just export it. It should prompt us for a name. It'll then start getting silly and moving it into different places. And I will put it on the desktop. There we go. Not bad, considering the number of pages. And get that down there. And there we have the holiday planner as a PDF. So you'll notice with that export, there was no border on it or anything like that. We discussed whether we needed a bleed or not, or all the rest of it. I am getting very different transparencies as I'm exporting this. Very different. That one's been annoying me all night. But never mind, it's there now. Right. Easiest way to get that, and why's holiday got 2 L's in it? Oh, why did I notice that now and not before? There we go. It's now got 1 L in it. Right, a couple of ways to get that up there. If you have the desktop version of GoodNotes, you can just drag and drop it in. If you don't, then you can import it into the iPad. So it doesn't matter either way. What we'll do is I'll put it in 2 folders. So I'll do an import from here so you can see that, but then I'll also import it on the iPad. Remind me. So we'll drag and drop that in there. It says importing documents. I will scroll up and there is the holiday planner. So it will open up on there and we can carry on working with it. There we go. Isn't it pretty? Pretty holiday planner. But obviously the beauty of it is that you want to handwrite this on here, and that's where the iPad bit comes in. And you don't need the desktop version to do any of this. So we've got our stickers as graphics and we've got our holiday planner. And now we need Air Server to play ball. And judging the way Mike's recording went, this could be interesting. Are you done? Let's have a look. Let's go into the iPad. Just going to say the Face ID didn't recognise me, but it did. It did. Okay. Mirror the screen to Serenity. It's not liking it. Oh no, hang on. There it is. Way! Excellent. Right. Where were we? Good grief. We were down there, weren't we? There's all our documents. It even synced ready for us. I mean, it's crazy beans, isn't it? Actually, synced ready for us. Right, first thing we're going to do, let's make that a bit bigger. Oh, don't turn upside down. I'm trying to get the screen cleared and that bigger. Okay, excellent. Let's have it back the right way up. Good. Now I need my glasses and I've lost my glasses. Okay, so first way of working with the stickers is not importing them. So we'll open up the holiday planner. There's the holiday planner. Fabulous, fabulous. Look at that. Right, first way of working with it is to grab the Files app and put it next to it. We're looking at the iCloud Drive, but even if we weren't, you'd have all of your locations listed here. These images could be in any one of them. So if you're using pCloud or you've even got them in Yoink or Gladys, you can have that in here. Mine happened to be in iCloud. And I had app icons, which is the first one, and I had stickers, which is the second one. So we'll go to the stickers. These aren't actually downloaded to the iPad, but they will download as you look at them, and they're ever so tiny, 5K or whatever. And it's really simple to use them. Remember, they are just PNGs. They have a transparent background. Drag that, drop it on there, and you should see exactly the controls that you saw on the desktop. The cross in the corner, the scaling handle down here, and the other two handles that scale it non-proportionally. That's amazing. I got a copy. That wasn't what I was trying to do. No. See what I mean about turning them round? But there we go. It's straight. Brilliant. And you can just drag and drop in any one that you particularly want. So size-wise, in relation to that question, these were 500 pixels square. And I reckon the perfect size would probably be between 200 and 250. Probably half that. So I might go back and do that. It would just depend. Or maybe I want them that big. Depends. But whatever size you want them, you can scale them. But you notice I can't type in. I can't type in the size that I actually want. So it's very much eyeballed. You can scale them with the pencil. So I'm now using the pencil. I don't particularly... no, it's... No. See, even that's duplicating it. It's too finicky. No, I don't want to do any of that. See what I mean? Can't particularly get them straight. So I'd probably scale them to the right size for whatever the document is you're working on, but that's going to depend on the document. That is not A4 or A3 or anything like that. But it is that simple to use these things. Just drag and drop them on wherever you would want them. Now, obviously, these particular icons with batteries and stuff, mind you, you could have a gift at Christmas that needs batteries, couldn't you? That always used to happen, do you remember? Mm-hmm. Used to be the toy hospital open on Christmas morning for batteries. Right, that's the black and white ones. I'm going to go back now and look at the app icons. And this is actually what I would be doing. I would have my notes on here and I would be thinking, okay, that's something that I need to add to Notion. And I would just drag and drop the Notion icon onto it. And again, at whatever size or position that made relevant. If you need to move it, you can grab it and move it with the lasso tool. You can go all the way around it and move it. Or you can be quite precise in the middle and move it. It knows that that is altogether a graphic. This one, the pudding at the bottom, no. If I do that in the middle and try moving that, it's not moving the pudding. That's because the pudding was in Affinity Publisher. If I wanted that to be movable, then it would have to have been an external graphic. Now let's have a look what it did with drafts, because that looked like it had a border on it. And indeed it does. And you can see the problem with it. You can't see the table borders through it. So that is a problem with it.
Kim wants to know what the toy hospital is.
Oh, the toy hospital used to be in Manchester town centre, and it was where parents took toys that were broken. So if children had like dolls or particularly dolls where they'd lost a limb, or railway kit, and you could take your toys in and they would fix them. So the toy hospital opened especially on Christmas Day to supply batteries for all of the newfangled toys in the mid-70s, where, do you remember the thing on the box? Batteries not included.
Somebody's just put that in the chat.
It was genius. Oh, yes, loved that. You'd see teddy bears go in as well with like ears missing, and they'd come out brand new looking. Oh, it was a lovely place. Centre of Manchester, that was. It's long gone now. Kids just throw the toys away, don't they? Right, so with that one, what you're looking at with the drafts one, with the white background, that's what these would look like in Notability, because Notability doesn't support transparency on PNGs, which is another reason that I'm using GoodNotes, etc. So that's one way to use these things. Once you've got them as graphics in your Finder or your Files app on the right, you've dragged them in, they are then in effect stickers. They are a sticker is just a PNG file you brought in here. It's separate from the background, so it's not the pudding. It's separate, but it's movable and it's scalable, and you can drag and drop them in from the Files app. But that's only one way to do it. We also had, didn't we? If we go into these, we had our stickers book, which I think was that one. Did we add them into there? I do believe we did. There you go. So these were the ones that were added on the desktop. And you can see that over here on this side, so that one that I've just picked up there that I'm about to drop, that one. And this one, which I'll draw around over here, are one and the same. They were definitely one and the same. So I'm just going to undo that. And yep, done that. They were the same. So if I wanted that Affinity Designer icon in another place, so I would like, that's the food budget, isn't it? Did we have a gift guide? I'm sure we had a gift thing. Here we go. Right, I'd just like to remind Mike that I would like something for Affinity Designer. Then I can either drag and drop it in onto my gift guide like that, or I can go to the stickers and using the lasso tool, just draw a bit round the middle, tap, and copy. And then when I go into here and tap, I can paste. It's exactly the same. There is no difference between what you're doing. The difference is in terms of accessibility. Do you want to have them in a file structure and access them through the Files app, or do you want to have a book? Or you could actually take that page. So let's say they're all this one here, page 5, I can select, choose 5, copy it, and then go to the other book, which was my holiday planner, and actually add in, no, we didn't do it there, did we? We did it over here. There was an add a page option over here. Add this page to outline. Well, no, that wasn't it. But that was how we did it. We went up there and it was somewhere in there. That's bizarre. Where's it disappeared to? It was in there. So you can add a page of stickers to a particular book. So if you've got like a reminiscence of Halloween and you want Halloween stickers in the Halloween book, but you don't want them anywhere else, then you might want to add it to the actual book. But if you want to have it where they are things you repeatedly refer to from different notebooks, then either use the file method or the sticker method where the stickers are in a sticker book. I actually think that way is probably better, the sticker book. It gives you one place to keep them up to date, because the next thing that will happen is that these icons will change and you'll drive yourself mad. Not suggesting you go through and update all of the icons in everywhere you've used them, but it would be good to have one place to go to update the actual icons themselves. And it is that simple to use them, and I love doing that. What I have done with it is my actual notebooks where I've got notes in, I look at it and I think, oh yeah, that was an idea, and it was an idea for the show, so it needs to go into Notion. And then just add the Notion icon, which I think we've got in here, haven't we? So just add the Notion icon, stick it. I don't even worry about the rotation. I go quite artistic with some of them and just put them next to a block of text. And these stickers can be anything. They can be things that you've drawn. They can be icons that you've downloaded. They can be application icons, as you've seen. The best tip with it is make sure that they are PNG and that they are transparent, and then they will work about on your document. You can move them around to your heart's content and they won't impact with the background. Once you've got them in place, like this Notion one, and I've tapped away, if you move back on it, it will select it. If you move up to that one, it will select it. That one, it is selecting it. But also, if you've got the lasso tool, you can do it that way. Just grab around the middle and then move it. And you don't even have to select the whole thing. Don't sit there at this business. You can if you like, but there's no need. and that will also allow you to move it. And I'm moving it with the pencil at that point. So there we go. Who actually uses GoodNotes? Let me know.
I do.
You probably don't use stickers though, do you?
No.
I know you.
No.
I bet the nearest you get to organisation is putting little stars next to it in a different colour if you're lucky. But probably not.
Don't even do that.
I didn't think you would, not for one moment.
I just draw around the important bits. Actually, I might star it.
The beauty of having the... let's get rid of the files thing now. The beauty of having this in here is when you go into the pages, so these are the pages we've got in here. If you've got like a menu and you've then got another meal, you can actually select it and do the copy thing and then duplicate it, in essence. The book that you start with, the holiday planner you start with, does not have to be the holiday planner you finish with, because you can duplicate pages, you can add pages, you can add images, you can write on it, draw on it, add stickers, the whole works. So in essence, make the holiday planner your own. What did we have on the first one here? Oh, it was last year, wasn't it? Do we remember? Let's not. Can I put there, let's not bury another parent? We've only got one left.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely not. Let's do. What did we do last year that was good? Because I put a Band-Aid on it. Which sums up last year. What was good last year? Oh, we went to Nina and Mike's. That was good. Oh, yeah, but we can't do that this year. And the most important thing, well, if we all make it to Christmas, I think that'll do.
We got Lola last year.
We did have Lola last year. Yes, we did. Should we get Lola again then? Should we get another dog? Oh, she'd love that. She's missed her little angel. She's missed Ollie. It's half term in the UK, and normally at half term, Ollie's family go on holiday and we look after him. But COVID, not seeing poor Ollie. So yeah, it would be lovely to see Ollie. Lola would love that. She gets a bit fed up fast, doesn't she? Because he's a little bit on the frisky side. But apart from that, she enjoys it all. So, any questions? You can bring PDFs into GoodNotes. Yes, you can. That was what I showed. So when I took it out of Affinity Publisher, it was a PDF, and I took it into GoodNotes. And it doesn't matter what kind of PDF it is. Let me think. Does it matter? No, it doesn't. PDFs come in different varieties, as we found out, haven't we? But it doesn't matter what sort of PDF it is, it will go in there. What you can do with it may depend on particularly which type of PDF it is, but you get the idea. Okay, what's going on here? Deb uses it on the iPad. Excellent. Paul's move's going well, which is fantastic, because that means new kit. Sooner you're in, Paul, sooner you get new kit. Neil's off on his way. Have a good day, Neil. Oh, morning, indeed. It's morning. It's morning where he is. Okay, then. Right. So, 100 shows. It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. Right. Let's go back into there. Which means it's 101 next week. Do you think we'll make it, Mike? I wonder what level of lockdown we'll be in by then. I'm having to come out of that because that's getting very upset with its little self. Air server and Keynote. Fighting manfully amongst themselves. Right, there we go. So yes, next week, 6th of November. Now, bring your earplugs. Because the 5th of November in the UK is Guy Fawkes night. And the way this year's gone, I'm predicting Friday will be a riot of fireworks, aren't you? They've been told not to. Did you see that lady in the week on the news?
No.
Somebody let a firework off and she lost an eye. That's Guy Fawkes night in the UK. So probably best not to do that, but that's particularly what happens. So we're coming up. What have we got coming up?
We're back to 4 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah, we are.
1 p.m. Pacific.
We are. You're changing your clocks this week, which means we're all back as it was. From tomorrow, I presume. But I'm going to leave that with you, because I told you when we'd done ours, it's up to you to tell me when you've done yours. Then we can all get back to where we were. And we're still marooned at MacBites headquarters, obviously. Do you remember that lovely 5 days we planned?
Johnny's still awake.
Johnny's still awake. Another point for Jonathan. What can I say? But if you would like to listen to Marooned at MacBites headquarters, I think the feed is almost up to date. I think I've just got a couple of days to do, and then it'll be good to go. Right, in the meanwhile, we love you guys. I hope you love us, guys. If you do, give us a like. It really makes a difference. And in the meanwhile, you can get all the news of what I do myself, other than MacBites, on elainecharles.com/VIP. We also have the MacBites mail at macbites.co.uk/macbites-mail. We are also on Slack. Have a ball on Slack, don't we? And that is macbites.co.uk/Slack, where we carry on the conversation. What else we got coming up this week, or is that it? I think that could actually be it. It could be it. I'm going to have to give Jonathan a point, aren't I? Unless I can rabbit on for about 5 hours. So I think we've ascertained Jonathan can manage just about 3 hours. So now I've stress tested him. We'll have to have a think about that. Shall I go in and do it? Should I do it, Jonathan? Put it in the chat. Right, we need that one. And then we need that one. Oh, he's positively racing now. Now he's into double figures. Right, let's get into there. And there. Are you ready? Whee! Well done, Jonathan. Fairly won. Unlike the week he fell asleep and then woke up again. Oh, you're positively catching up now. Definitely need to do something about that, don't we? I wonder what that could be. We'll find out. It's a miracle. That's 2 weeks running. Clock's back on Sunday. There you go. Oh, you get an extra hour, Paul. That'll make all the difference with the move. It will. It will. Jonathan's going to get used to this now, isn't he? Catching up with extra points. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. So, are we having something to eat?
Yes.
Good. Is it ice cream?
Yes.
Good, because I like ice cream. Have you noticed how good the Lola Bear's been? Not a peep. Having said that, as I explained, she has had that many treats. It's a wonder she can actually stand up. But she just stands there and she's like, I'm starving, I'm starving. And you look at her, and she does look a bit thin at the minute, doesn't she, with her fur? And you give in every time. Especially now she's got those little ones, the hypoallergenic treats. Little hypoallergenic bones. Makes me wonder if Johnny has been hacked. Well, you were going to create a bot, weren't you, Simon? And if the ability of yourself to get in first in Maroon Chat is anything to go by, I think you've already cloned yourself, so possibly clone Jonathan. There you go. Oh, Kiva's been sleeping by the fireplace. Oh, lucky Kiva. Lola doesn't really do that, does she? No. I did find her curled up on a mat. Oh, so cute. She ate the mat downstairs, didn't we? We had to move it in the end. It's so annoying because, then she's on the floor. Oh, look at that. Was that this morning?
That was this morning.
Look at her little face. That's exactly what she looked like, So cool. He's got a picture of her asleep on a mat. I was going to take one, but if I'd have gone back in for the phone, she'd have woken up and gone, so I left her be. Left her in peace. But she did look so cute. But, we like her to have a bed downstairs, but there's not much point because she'd just eat it. So she has one on the landing, the little landing between the two sets of stairs that we have. And she was all curled up there. She must have realised it was cold downstairs and sitting there was ridiculously stupid. Another trick she has is lying on the floor next to the wall. And when she's moved, isn't the floor warm where she's been? So I think she keeps herself warm on the carpet. There you go. So, if you are going to be with us tomorrow, it's not going to be difficult to work out, is it, by request, what the theme is. It's Halloween. And we have Halloween music on all day. We have Phantom of the Opera We've got Meatloaf. We've got Wicked the Musical, as you saw tonight. We've got... What else have we got? Oh, Rocky Horror. We've got Rocky Horror. I've just been creating shows all week. So basically we've got 13 hours of new content tomorrow. And then I wonder why I'm tired, hey?
Eva's pulled the tail off her toy squirrel.
Maya always went for the head first. Head first, tail second. Oh dear. Was it a stuffy or was it a plasticky one? That's not good news. That's not good news. Do you remember Maya trying to get the head off a Tiny Tears doll? Wow, they didn't need the toy hospital. They were indestructible. If Maya couldn't get the head off it, it was indestructible. So after about 3 years, I declared it was indestructible. Definitely. Don't listen to Johnny. He'll have you think I'm the Russian intelligence unit for disinformation. Makes me wonder, Simon. Just saying. Oh, Shuey has real squirrels that run along the wire in the backyard. Oh, it's stuffed. Lola's put her teeth through a fox, but she's not actually ripped the tail off yet. Way to go, Kiva. They've all got to be ripped, you know. If Lola wasn't on the lead, I think she might catch one. She might just catch a squirrel. Luckily, she is on the lead, because apparently they can be really vicious. Which makes a mockery of the thing that I put on Facebook. Did you see the link I put on Facebook with the squirrel?
No, don't.
Oh, it was so cute. It was this squirrel. They were in a park. It was tame as anything. And it had gone up to a boy, probably early teens, and he had a water bottle in his hand. And this water bottle was like upside down, and they're saying, it's thirsty, give it a drink. And he said, how can I give it a drink? He didn't have anything to pour it into. But he took the lid off and he put it down a bit. And the squirrel's there with hands holding this bottle. He drank the lot and then scarpered when it was empty. Ever so tame. You know, Mum said they were vicious, didn't she? You wouldn't let Maya anywhere near one. Chases and barks at them. You can't say fairer than that. Oh, what a good night. Chasing and barking after them. Yeah, Maya would do that. The only time him and Lola have got anywhere near, though, is when they were deceased. Roadkill.
That's a bit cute, isn't it?
Oh, you've got the link. Can you get the link to just that video? I think it's public. It's ever so sweet. You couldn't say a squirrel was vicious if you'd seen this video. It was so cute. I think you click on...
I've got it. I'm just checking it's public.
It should be public. I don't put anything private. Don't put anything on Facebook if I'm worried about it being private or not.
Yeah,
Crying out loud, madness lies that way. Absolutely. Dusty's in lockdown until long after bonfire night. Do you know, I said that, particularly with Lola's fur. It's dangerous out there, so we'll just take her out when you can see far enough that you can see nobody's there. Does that work for me, that link? It's the cutest little squirrel. It's so tame. I don't know where it is. Is it a park? It must be a public park, surely. Yes, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, the video said. And that was just so sweet. I mean, it didn't even get scared when that truck went past. And look at its little paws reaching up for the water. The poor thing. It reminds me of the koalas in Australia. You know, when they were desperate for water.
Yeah.
It drinks the whole lot and only scarpers when it's finished. And its little claws. So sweet. That's not what Mum said squirrels were like. She said they could strip a buffalo bear in 2 seconds. And look at that thing. Just so cute. Makes me wonder where it is to be that desperate for a drink. Posted by Midwest Radio. So I'm thinking America. And then he scarpers off. What a cutie. What an absolute cutie. Oh, that other one that I posted still getting likes on it.
Priest one.
The one with the priest. Where did I get that? I can't remember. I sent it on to Kathy, you know. So she can pass it on.
For Ned.
Yeah. Oh, it's this young girl at First Holy Communion. And she should be, you know, shielding COVID style. And she got a face mask on the lot. And what does she do? High five the priest. In her defence, he was blessing her at the time. But the way he had his hand, it did look like give me five, didn't it? So she did. Brilliant. Absolutely love it. Right, okay then. So if I'm getting ice cream, I'm going to go and head off and have it. Eee, excitement. I do like my ice cream. I do. It's a Magnum. It's a Magnum tonight. Lucky, lucky, lucky me. So let me get the contact stuff back up there. Let's get that there. And away. So if you've got a request for anything, let me know. I've already seen the thing about the PDF, so I'll have a look at that. We've got making a deck in Pitch. Never mind the features of Pitch. Let's make a deck in Pitch. And that'll be next week. And have you decided what you're doing, or is it secret?
Something Excel-ish.
Oh, surprise! It'll be fabulous. It's bound to be. Right, but for the moment, I'm going to say good night from me.
Good night from me.
And we'll both see you next time. Stay safe, folks.